resistance. Insulin resistance, leading cause of cholesterol problems, leading cause of triglyceride problems, high triglycerides. It is the leading cause of infertility in both genders, in men and females, like leading cause, insulin resistance. It is the leading cause of chronic low-grade and high-grade inflammation in the body, which I'll show you that as well. We'll talk about it. I'll go into detail about how that's possible and why, even if you don't see it in your blood work, why are you so inflamed, but it's not showing up in your blood work? I'll explain that as well. What else do we have? We have leading cause of heart attack, stroke, heart disease, insulin resistance. It is the only cause of diabetes, type 2, pre-diabetes, borderline diabetes, gestational diabetes. The only cause is insulin resistance. Other things can come in, like statin medications come into the body, but statins, yes, they cause type 2 diabetes, but they do it by causing insulin resistance and then pushing you into an extreme level of it where it triggers diabetes, because diabetes is an outcome. Again, always think about the tree. All right, insulin resistance, diabetes is up here, cholesterol, blood pressure, hypothyroidism, all right, heart attack, stroke, cardiac arrest. We have kidney CKD, leading cause of CKD, kidney disease, kidney failure, symptoms up here, manifestation of the condition, all right, at the end stage. The terminal stage is, of course, organ failure. So CKD, cysts on your kidney, being on dialysis, needing a kidney transplant due to metabolic decline, that's insulin resistance. The liver is the same thing, just like it's the leading cause of kidney disease, it's a leading cause of liver disease. Used to be alcohol. Alcohol used to be the leading cause of liver disease. But now, after the 80s, we started going to the doctor, people going to the doctors, and they were going into organ failure. Their liver was going down. They were getting fatty liver. Triglycerides were messed up. Cholesterol messed up. All this belly fat, that's all insulin resistance. And the liver starts to go down. It's usually the trifecta that begins to happen when you go into liver failure for most people. And they're looking at that being like, wait a minute, this is the markings of alcoholism, but you don't drink. So how do you have this? It's the food supply. Like I taught you guys earlier, if you guys were here earlier, now you understand it's not alcohol. Our food supply is so toxic today. It is now more toxic than alcohol. It is surpassing alcohol in terms of damage on the body. And now it's becoming the leading cause of taking down the liver. All right, so fatty liver disease, or stage 1, 2, 3, 4 organ failure of the liver. Fatty liver is the beginning of that. They're not separate, they're the same. All right, so if you have fatty liver and your doctor's telling you not a big deal, it is a big deal because it leads to organ failure and a lot of other repercussions. Your liver does over 500 vital life-saving functions for you. I get mind-boggled whenever I hear doctors say it's not a big deal that you have fatty liver. I'm like, how could you possibly say that? That the liver does over 500 vital functions. A lot of things begin to go wrong should you not take that seriously. Okay. Where are we? Plaque buildup, leading cause, insulin resistance. Stent surgery, bypass surgery, leading cause, insulin resistance. What else do we have? Alzheimer's, dementia, type 3 diabetes, right? So we did type 2 already. Now we're at type 3, insulin resistance of the brain cells. All right, Alzheimer's, dementia, leading cause, insulin resistance. What else do we have? I did hypothyroidism. I did ED. I did before. Leading cause was this. PCOS, leading cause is this. Sarcopenia, muscle. So muscles and bones. Also, lots of repercussions on your muscle and bone. You're even if you're seeing your muscle, you're having a really hard time gaining muscle, and you're seeing you're losing muscle. In fact, and you're like, why am I losing? I'm eating all this protein. I'm going to the gym. Why is my muscle breaking down? Why am I losing muscle? That's what happens when you have insulin resistance. Your body is unable to get, the cells are unable to get glucose. Your cells need to live, so they will break down muscle to get energy from muscle. If they can't get it from glucose because they become insulin resistant, so now you have muscle wasting. You have bone issues like sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is muscle loss and weakening. You also get bone issues. You get things like osteoarthritis. A lot of different types of arthritis come from this as well. Okay, so I know that there is that's a big list. I know a lot of questions came in. Every single type of gout, I think I saw gout in the chat, so yes, every single type of gout, even tinnitus is connected to this. Yes, 92% of cases connect back to this. All right, and there are some things, pre-diabetes, we're gonna talk about that next. Let's get into pre-diabetes. Let's go into some of these conditions you guys were asking about. So yeah, let's cover some of these things. Okay, so let's move into the conditions. That's a big list. There's more that I don't have time to list off. There's a big list that comes from this, but those are the biggest ones. If you have 3 or more, all right, 3 or more of anything I said there in that big list of symptoms and conditions, right? Anemia. There's so much I didn't list off. There's literally even kidney stones, reoccurring kidney stones. I don't care if you're getting uric acid kidney stones or calcium oxalate kidney stones. Both are this. If you're being told you don't know why you're getting all these kidney stones and it's repeating, and if you have other symptoms I just mentioned, that's what's driving your kidney stones and making all these surgeries to get them removed. It's just that. Anemia is another really big one that keeps coming up lately. It's definitely in this as well. There's like 6 different channels of how this drives anemia. Okay, so let's go forward and let's talk about these conditions. I'm only going to cover today. I'm going to make my lives a little bit shorter. So I know I usually educate forever for you guys, and I do a lot of questions, and I look at the conditions you guys are talking about, and I usually educate them as I can, but my lives get too long. So I'm going to try to shorten it. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to talk about weight loss. I'm going to talk about blood sugar. So diabetes, pre-diabetes, borderline diabetes, gestational diabetes. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the liver failure, liver disease, triglycerides, cholesterol. I'm going to wrap in as well. And belly fat will come into that one. Low energy and hunger noise I'll talk about with the weight. So I'm going to cover those. I'm also going to cover PCOS for females today because that's usually a really popular one. As I go through, I'm going to do some pulse checks. If nobody wants certain things, I'll drop them out. If no one here has PCOS, for example, I'm going to skip it. So I'll do some pulse checking. And then heart disease, blood pressure, plaque buildup, bypass surgery, stent surgery, how you got to these positions. How does insulin resistance, Shannon, welcome back to my live. How did this condition cause all of that in your body? Once you understand that, then you're going to have, because knowledge is so powerful when it comes to your healing journey, you understand how you got where you are today, you will have a much better chance of reversing it because you're going to understand what you got to target. So let's move forward. Let's talk about weight and weight loss. All right. PCOS. So Melanie, you want PCOS? It looks like PCOS will most likely be staying today. Shannon, thank you for the gift. I appreciate it. Shanine. Okay. Let's move forward. Weight gain and weight loss. When you guys become insulin resistant, some people lose weight with insulin resistance, and this comes down to a couple different factors. I won't get into them right now, they're very complicated, but there's some complicated factors under which the body will actually lose weight with this, but that's a fraction of people. That's a minority. The vast majority of people, once this is lingering long enough, there's enough damage that starts building, you hit a threshold and boom, you start to gain weight. And now you're gaining weight, you don't know why. And you're doing everything you can to lose weight, keto and whatever else you're doing, and you are having a hard time getting it back to normal. So what we're going to do, I'm going to explain to you what broke in your body and how you're going to undo that. Because a lot of people are here considering GLP-1s, all those weight loss pharmaceutical drugs to help them with weight loss, to help them with artificial food noise control. And that's not the way to go. It's going to make you a lot worse in the future. Ask all my clients who come off that and how hard the rebound is. It's very upsetting to go through a rebound from those. And also you're left off in a worse. And also you're left off in a worse. When it comes to weight loss and weight gain, is that your hormones, your body is controlled by hormones. Hormones run your system. Kind of bouncing around. Hormones come in and tell the cells what to do and when to do it and how to do it. That's the hormones. Now, insulin is the dominant hormone over your weight. It literally is the on-off switch for fat burning. It tells your body when, thank you, Russ, I appreciate it. It tells your body when it can burn fat and when it can't burn fat. It turns the light on and off. Yes, other things play a role in fat burning, like going to the gym and what you eat, even altitude, and a lot of other factors play a role in how your body will burn fat or not burn fat, all right? Lots of things come into play, but insulin is the dominant on-off switch. It's the dominant hormone. None of those things can trump this. In fact, when the light switch gets turned off and fat burning is turned off in your body, the other things can't do much for you anymore. And that's where the problems start to happen. And insulin resistance, insulin is the on-off switch, but insulin resistance turns the light off. And now you got a problem. We're going to talk about that. Ready? So in this hand demonstration, I'm going to explain to you how this works. This hand is going to represent food, how you got to where you are. This is going to be food, okay? Food goes into the system, gets converted into glucose. Glucose then gets released into the bloodstream. That is your food moving through your body to feed you, all right? It moves, the glucose is moving all over the body to your brain to feed your body. Your body wants energy from the food. This is a good thing. So glucose goes up in the bloodstream when you eat. Fantastic. Now, this hand's going to be insulin, okay? Insulin, the hormone. Let's say you are moving through your day and there's no food in the stomach. There's no food, so there's no glucose spike. You're not eating or anything, so glucose is nice. And a metabolically healthy individual, glucose would be low, okay? Because you're not eating anything, stomach is empty. Insulin would also be low because of this, all right? Now, when insulin is in a low position, it's a hormone. Your hormones are constantly sending instructions to your body every single second of the day. It never stops. Insulin in a low position is telling your body, hey, the message, the instruction from the hormone to your body is, hey, you, the body, you need energy every single second of the day, because the body, you have 40 trillion cells in your body, 40 trillion cells, not millions with an M, not billions with a B, Trillions with a T, 40 trillion cells in your body, and they never sleep. Even if you're sleeping, your cells aren't sleeping. Your cells are constantly going. You want to be able to walk and talk and see and think every second of the day and not pass out and go unconscious. You need all your cells alive and all your cells working and just firing on all 4 cylinders. Now, how do your cells do that? How do your cells fire on all 4 cylinders? Thank you guys, Rochelle, Liz, so good to have you guys in my lives. I love seeing you guys in here. How do your cells fire on all full cylinders? Insulin is telling your body, hey, you need energy to fuel all of this. But right now, you can't get energy from food. There's no food in the stomach. She's not eating. She's doing her hair. She's watching TV. She's watching a movie. She's doing something. She's in class. She's at work, whatever. But she's not eating right now. There's no food here. So you cannot fuel all these trillions of reactions every single second. You have literally trillions of reactions happening in your body, biochemical reactions every single second. Not a second can go by in your body without energy. But when glucose is low because there's no food, insulin is telling your body, hey, burn fat. Fat burning is extremely important for your body. Your body loves burning fat. It's actually healthier to burn fat than it is to burn food. Rudy, so good to have you in my life. Thank you guys for coming in today. Okay, so your insulin is telling your body burn fat because there's no food. This is your backup. So boom, the body should be burning body fat. And because the cells are burning body fat, you're getting energy from the fat. So you feel like you're awake, you're alive, you can go do things, you're not tired, you're not hungry. This actually controls hunger between meals. Liz, thank you. It controls, controls, sorry, I read some comments. I lost where I was and I have to stop looking at comments. Okay. Because your cells are burning the energy, it's actually feeding your body in between meals. Thank you guys for the gifts. It's a lot going on in today's live and I love it. I love you, all the support you guys sending today. Because they're burning energy, you're not really hungry between meals. It sustains you in between. You can function, you can do stuff in between meals because you're burning fat, okay? And just giving everything you need to the body and all the body can function. Now, your body's gonna burn this body fat until you eat. As soon as you eat, food goes into the system, gets converted into glucose, and glucose gets released, all right? What's going on in my chat right now? Hold on. I'm just gonna mute someone. I just don't know what's going on. I just don't. Chris, I don't know if, Chris, I'm gonna give you one chance. I don't know if you're trolling or not, but just maybe don't swear in my chat if you don't mind though, okay? Okay, so where was I? Your system's gonna burn the body fat until you eat. Because as soon as you eat, the food goes into the stomach, gets converted into glucose. The glucose gets released into the bloodstream, and then boom, glucose is now here in the bloodstream. There's food in your body. There's glucose being released into the bloodstream. When this happens, as you guys learned before, your body has no choice. It has to release insulin. Insulin comes up, and insulin's always gonna match the level of glucose. It always matches it, and when insulin comes up, now the hormone is no longer low. Thank you, Chris. Now the hormone is in a high position. It's in a different position. The instruction going from this hormone in this higher position changes. The instruction is now changing, and now insulin is telling your body, hey, I am up here. I am telling you there's this much food in the system. There's glucose here. So you can save the body fat for later. Stop burning body fat. Insulin turns fat burning off. It's telling the body burn the food instead. And this signal from insulin saying to stop burning the fat is not some soft signal. This is a hard chemical signal. This is not some fluffy thing that we made up that the insulin is telling the body to stop burning body fat. No, it actually stops fat burning. It chemically disrupts the cell in a way where the cell can no longer burn the fat. For example, something called the fat, when the fat substrates are getting to the cell, when I'm saying your body is burning fat, what is actually happening is the cells, you are one walking, talking mass of cells, okay? The cells themselves are actually burning the fat. They're burning the fat and they're feeding energy. It goes into the mitochondria. The mitochondria burns the fat and it creates energy for the cell so the cell can go do its job. Now, what gets the fat to the mitochondria? It can't just float in there magically. There's actually little bus drivers. They're called CPT, they're CPT1s or transporter cells. Think of a little yellow school bus. It's like a little yellow school bus, this little cell. It's called a CPT1, and it's packing all the fat substrates onto the bus, and then it drives all the fat to the mitochondria inside the cell, and boom, the cell will burn the mitochondria when it gets it. The mitochondria burn the fat, when it gets it. That's fat burning. Now, when insulin comes up, it chemically shuts down the bus drivers. It stops the bus drivers. They can't get to the mitochondria anymore. The mitochondria can no longer burn the fat because the fat won't get there. You see? I know, I think of the same thing, the magic school bus. I literally think of the same thing. That's so funny. We're thinking of the exact same thing. Okay, so now that's how the cells do it. And so when insulin comes up, it stops it. The bus drivers are just stop. They stop, but they're chilling on the highway and they're waiting, and they cannot drive any closer to that mitochondria because insulin is blocking them. So that's literally cutting off fat burning. Now, insulin is okay with this though, because insulin is saying, hey, you don't need the fat right now. There's food here. Start to burn the food. Use the food. And the mitochondria switches. And other different bus drivers actually start to activate, and they put the glucose in. So now insulin is actually unlocking the cell. I taught you guys earlier, insulin gets released, it goes up to the cell, and it binds to the cell, and it binds to that receptor. The cell is opening, and those bus drivers for glucose start to get in. So now you have the cells in your whole body are burning glucose instead. They've stopped burning body fat, they're burning the glucose. Now, your cells are gonna absorb all this glucose from the bloodstream until it's all gone. When all the glucose had been used up from your meal, all the food that you just ate was all used up in the body for energy, and glucose is nice and low, insulin is going, okay, cool, I came up, I did my job. I got all the cells to eat the glucose. All the cells are happy. They all got their food. They all have energy to do their jobs. My job is done. I'm going to come back down. That's a metabolically healthy individual. It's called metabolic flexibility, where insulin is coming up and down. Insulin is controlling fat burning. Insulin is the on-off switch. It tells the body when it's allowed to burn body fat and when it cannot burn body fat because it needs to be burning glucose instead. It's called metabolic flexibility, switching between the two sources. Now, that's a metabolically healthy individual. You can burn body fat when you're not eating. You're comfortable in between meals. You're also regulating your fat that way. And you're able to burn glucose when you eat. So the body is really happy back and forth. Thank you guys, I appreciate it. Now, and we'll talk about neuropathy if I have some time. I'll bring in neuropathy a little bit later if I have some time in this live. This is a metabolically healthy individual. When you get insulin resistance, this stops happening. Fat burning starts to get disrupted. And this is why. Some of you guys might already have clued in. If you guys were here earlier, you guys are already probably getting ahead of me. I taught you earlier what begins to happen to your insulin when you were insulin resistant. If you were insulin resistant, one of the 4 pillars, the insulin pillar of the condition, there's 4 of the pillars, remember? The 4th pillar that I told you about was insulin. Your insulin, with insulin resistance, it is stuck. It is when your insulin is stuck up here, it's 24/7. You have insulin resistance, it never comes back down. This is insulin resistance. It's chronically elevated insulin in the body. All right, and that means your insulin never falls. You wake up in the morning, it's up high. You go through the whole day, it's up high all day. You go back to bed at night, it's still up high. It never came back down. All day, all night, it's up here. That means if your insulin is never falling back down to a low position, if it's always stuck up here in a high position, that means the instruction going from the hormone going to your body is also stuck in one setting. The hormone is sending your body the instruction 24/7, even when you're at the gym, even when you're eating healthy, your body is being told, do not burn body fat. Never burn body fat. Even when you're at the gym, insulin is high, it is cutting off the transport, it is disrupting the mitochondria. It cannot burn body fat. Insulin is telling your body 24/7, only burn food for energy. Insulin is high, disrupting body fat, telling your body to only burn glucose. The cells are stuck in glucose mode, which means when the glucose is gone, all right, when the glucose is gone and you're finished eating, for example, the cells want to go back to burning body fat, but they can't. Insulin is saying, nuh-uh, I'm still saying, nuh-uh, I'm still saying, nuh-uh, I'm still. And so boom, hunger cravings become really common. Now you're eating more often, more food noise, even things like coffee. You want more coffees with milk and cream and sugar. Your body will give you signals for anything to keep getting food in the system so the cells can have a continuous source of energy. Now, all these extra calories you're bringing in because you're stuck in food burning mode, any extra calories that you did not need that day will go into fat storage because the calories can go in no problem. Insulin is telling your body don't burn the calories once you put them in there. You can put them in. It's really hard to get them out. So it becomes easy to gain weight, difficult to lose weight. All right, I am back, Freckles. I am back. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. I am so happy. You have no idea. I cried for like 6 hours. I'm very open. I'm very emotional when it comes to when I can't come up here. And so I was so upset. And so I'm so glad that I'm back to see you guys. Okay, I'm so happy right now. Okay, so where was I? So this is, and as we go deeper now, let's go a little bit deeper. Some people have quite a big severity where now when they try to skip meals, for example, or they try to maybe go a little bit longer between meals, trying to control their hunger, now they're getting extreme hunger cravings, they're getting low energy crashes. People say to me, Dana, I feel like I have to eat to get energy. If I don't eat, my energy crashes. Well, of course, your cells are depending on the glucose, the food they can't burn body fat anymore. So your food your body is relying on the food, and you take it away, your body's going, whoa, I need this for energy. I can't get energy from anywhere now. Symptoms like extreme hunger cravings trying to make you eat, low energy, even nausea, shakiness, you get tremors, all different symptoms if you get very extreme into this. In the early stages, you don't see that. But as you get very, very deep, you do. Okay, so thank you guys. I really appreciate the comments. I really, really do. Okay, so for those who are here for weight, now you understand how this causes obesity. It's a metabolic dysfunction that literally dysfunctions the system at a cell level, and it starts to create this metabolic situation where you are stuck in food burning mode and you cannot burn body fat properly. So even when you go to the gym, your body isn't burning properly, which is why people come to me, Dana, I work out 2 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I'm gaining weight. I run around the block. I run 6 kilometers a day, and I'm gaining weight. You know, I even work with pro athletes, and they come to me and they say the same thing. A lot of pro athletes, these are people you see on TV, struggle with this because no one is immune from the toxic food supply. All right, no one is, but even they go through it when they get it. So it's very, very common. Anyway, so let's go a little bit deeper. I'm trying to go faster for you guys. There's some things you guys are asking about in the comments that I'm no longer allowed to address. I learned how do I word this? Got to be very careful how I word this. I learned the hard way on here that I have to be careful with the type of topics I discuss. All right. So there are some things that you guys are asking for. If you notice, I don't address certain comments. I am not allowed to. All right. So let's move forward and let's talk about some other conditions. All right. That's weight. If you're here for weight gain, weight loss, now you have the education to understand that piece. Now, if a lot of people are considering semaglutide, so a lot of people are considering GLP-1s, like the weight loss pharmaceutical drugs. All right. If I'm freezing Anderson, refresh your app and it will go away. A lot of people here are considering going on the weight loss pharmaceutical drugs, I can do a quick little thing on that for you because I do think it's very important that medication is a very popular one, and it helps to know some facts around it. If nobody here is considering it, then I'm going to skip it and we're going to move on and we're going to talk about some blood sugar. So type 2 diabetes, even non-diabetes. Blood sugar does not include diabetes all the time, all right? So I'm going to go into a lot of stuff. Give me and then IME, refresh the app and it will stop freezing for you. All right. So Melanie, you also have PCOS. I believe you mentioned earlier you have PCOS in the very beginning of my live. So let's talk about, because there's a couple of you guys. Okay, so when it comes to the GLP-1, really quick on this, all right? Barbie, you as well. Freckles, thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, depending on location and geography and even like local weather, it will freeze for certain people. But usually if you refresh the app, and it will stop doing that for you. If you leave the thing and come back, it usually stops. Okay, so Leia, sorry, you also have PCOS. Okay, so we're gonna talk about PCOS today because Melanie also asked for it, so I'll cover that for you. Thank you guys, thank you. I appreciate the comments on the freezing stuff. Okay, when it comes to the weight loss pharmaceuticals, here's what you have to understand. Insulin resistance is factually, we know this to be true, the leading cause of obesity, hunger noise, of belly fat, all these things, okay? So people are experiencing these troubles. And what's happening is because you have an excessively high level of insulin in the body for the reasons I taught you guys earlier how this happened, right? We'll do it again afterwards though, in case you missed it. So this is now causing your body to be stuck in food burning mode, and your body is physically disrupted, all right, from being able to burn belly fat or fat substrates. When you come onto these pharmaceuticals, most important way or most notable way that's worth mentioning is it puts your body essentially into a starvation response. So yes, you will lose a lot of weight because you're in a starvation response. But how healthy do you think it is for the body to be living in that type of environment? Your brain to be in that environment, your heart to be in that environment. It's very hard on your system to be existing in that type of state. So what ends up happening is, yes, you're gonna lose, people come to me, Dana, I lost 50 pounds in 5 months or whatever it was, a lot of weight really quickly, and they're super happy. And I'm like, yeah, but half of your weight loss was not fat. Half of your weight loss was bones and muscle. So you're excited right now that you just shortened your lifespan. Because the more muscle you lose, the more bone you lose, the earlier you pass away, because you just can't live as long. Those are the two most important predictors of lifespan. So you're ecstatic about a very dangerous thing. You even lose muscle around the heart, and you don't know right away, but when you have a heart attack in the future, you'll know, right? There's damage all over the body in all different ways. Your brain is getting damaged, the intestines get damaged. Some people say only your intestines get damaged. That's not true. It even duplicates your fat cells. And you can Google that. Google will tell you that it does not duplicate your fat cells, but Google does not have the clinical studies to. You have to understand, Google will pull information. It's going to scrape the internet. It's going to look at blogs, news articles by Globe and Mail, or like whoever is posting, these random journalists are talking on this health topic, having no knowledge of the topic. And so Google will give you its answer of what it sees. It doesn't have access to all the clinical studies. We've known for over 3 years. This is not new that it duplicates your fat cells, meaning that when you come off the drug, you have now you have more fat cells than you had before. That should never happen. You were supposed to have the same fat cells your whole life. It should not change. Only a very small amount of people have a condition that causes them to gain fat cells. Beyond that, that should never happen. These drugs are so aggressive that they are able to do that. They are literally breaking the laws of your biology. That's how powerful they are. Now you can actually gain back more fat you ever had before. You lost bone, you lost muscle, your face is sagging. And the whole time, all that damage, including permanent blindness, people are going permanently blind. They're getting all these different repercussions because of the drugs. They're very serious. But eventually you have to come off the drug. Most people elect to stop using it because it is so toxic. They're throwing up every single day. They're so sick. They can't handle it. People usually stop around 24 months. Most people have elected to stop because they're too sick. They can't keep going. So now the drug is gone and you have all these repercussions. You lost bone, you lost muscle, you have all this damage throughout the body, you have even kidney failure. And the whole time it did all that damage and it never even fixed the problem. It did all of that to you and it didn't even fix the problem. It was an artificial result from your body being in that type of toxic state that caused it to lose weight so fast. But you still have, when you come off the drug, insulin resistance. It does not fix this. So you are still stuck in food burning mode. You still can't burn body fat. So of course, when the drug is gone, you rebound and you rebound hard. You have more fat cells. More fat will come back than you had before. You see? All the food noise comes back usually way worse than you had it before. All right? And if you guys do think it is nonsense, you guys should go read the studies and just educate yourself. If you don't listen, I don't mind if you don't listen to me, but you should go educate yourself if you're going to consider it. Really, really should. Anyways, where was I? So what you want to do is avoid all the damage. If you want to go on it, again, you make a choice that's best for yourself. You know what's best for yourself. So if you choose that is the path you want to go on, then of course do what feels best for you. But I do encourage you, whether you're on it or not, you really should fix this. If you fix the insulin, you bring that back down, you will push your body back into fat burning mode and everything will begin to work again. You don't need to do everything those drugs do. Your body does naturally. And I'll teach you that in the solutions. I'll teach you all the things those drugs do and how you can actually do it all naturally without any repercussions. All right. Okay. So we'll talk about that, but just you want to address the insulin resistance instead. It's a way healthier approach. You're actually going to heal. You don't heal the mitochondria. You're going to have this issue for the rest of your life. Right. And you don't want that. So let's go forward. And yeah, we will go into solutions. Don't worry, guys, we will. When I'm done educating, education first, solutions afterwards is how the live always flows. So a lot of people are here and they're not here for weight. Other people are here because you guys want to hear about blood sugar, for example. Let's talk about blood sugar. So a lot of people, and we're going to the liver. I'll do blood sugar, the liver, PCOS, and the heart, including blood pressure, triglycerides, cholesterol. I'll go into all that for you as well. Okay, so where was I? Berberine gives you a 1% change in A1C. It's not strong enough for me to care about. I studied it, yeah, but it's, and thank you, I'm a doctor, you are really good. I'm so glad I can teach doctors. I love when doctors watch me, so thank you for coming into my live. It's nice to meet you. Okay, so, and if I can help you help your clients, you let me know. Again, we're all in this big mission together. Okay, so when it comes to blood sugar, a lot of people, thank you guys, a lot of people come and watch me and I talk about blood sugar. They're like, I don't have diabetes. I'm going to tune out. I'll come back when just talking about PCOS. And they skip the piece about blood sugar. That's a mistake. If anybody scrolls right now because they don't think blood sugar is important to them, they are looking at a forest and they're missing the trees. That's how critical the blood sugar is. Even if you're not diabetic, when you have insulin resistance, you have a blood sugar problem. It will not be on your blood work. Your A1C will be perfect. It will be a 5.0 and you're being told you're the epitome of the health. All your numbers are normal and your doctor is telling you to keep it up and you feel really good about yourself, and you should because your blood work is good. But the issue is insulin resistance is a silent condition. It is called as a silent condition for a reason. Your body will hide it, including the blood sugar behind the surface that's actually becoming unstable and becoming toxic. The 5.0 A1C isn't seeing that. So it's happening. And this is what leads you to become, to have Alzheimer's in the future, to have organ failure. When you're wondering, well, how did I get high blood pressure? Everything's good on my blood work, but now my blood pressure, my cholesterol's off. Now because it came from the blood sugar that you never knew was actually a problem. Okay. So I'm going to explain to you the blood sugar problem. And some people get it so extreme, they get diabetes, but a lot of people don't. They always stay here thinking that they're fine and they don't understand this is what's actually causing their disorders. So we're going to get into it. Okay. Let's talk about, another doctor. All these doctors are in my live today. I love it. I love when doctors watch me. Hello guys. You guys are awesome. Nurses too. Doctors and nurses, you guys have, mad respect for me. Okay. So, let's get into it. So blood sugar, when it comes to insulin resistance, what happens here is this. How do I want to begin this? Okay, every time you eat food, every time a human being, including a baby, eats food goes in Chicago, I'm in Toronto, okay? Hey, we have more in here. Hello, pickleball. Okay, so every time food goes into your system, it gets converted into glucose, as you guys learned in my live. The glucose goes through the bloodstream, and now the glucose is bouncing around the bloodstream, and the glucose wants to get into your body, into your cells. It wants to get in the cells to feed your body, including your brain cells. They all want energy, so boom, glucose is bouncing around. What puts the glucose into the cells is insulin. So boom, insulin shows up and they're bouncing around together, okay? Insulin's job, as you learned earlier in my live, insulin's job is it goes up to the cell and it knocks on the cell door. When it knocks on the cell door, it binds to the insulin receptor and it opens it up. Boom, insulin is like the key and it unlocks the cells. The cells across your body are opening and they begin to absorb the glucose from the bloodstream. This is how your cells are getting their energy, right? So the glucose is being taken out of the bloodstream. Because of that, because the cells are using it, right? Now the glucose is leaving the bloodstream, glucose is going away. So glucose numbers go back to normal. Thank you guys for the gifts, I really appreciate it. Glucose goes back to normal. Everyone's happy. Body is great. Glucose is nice and low, insulin goes back down, everything's fantastic. But then you become insulin resistant and this starts to break down. The day you become insulin resistant, not diabetic, insulin resistant, okay? This is not about diabetes. When you get insulin resistance, now you are eating, all right? The food gets converted into glucose and gets released into the bloodstream. Glucose is bouncing around like normal. Insulin shows up like normal. They're bouncing around together. Insulin starts going up to the cells and it knocks cell is insulin resistant, all right? Is insulin resistant. And so now the cell won't open. The cells across the body are staying closed. If your cells stay closed and they don't open, if the key won't work anymore and insulin can't get them to open, now the glucose is bouncing around, it wants to be absorbed, but the cells aren't absorbing it, it's just bouncing around. That's dangerous. Glucose in the bloodstream, lingering in the bloodstream like that, glucose getting into the cell, beautiful, very important, feeds the cell, gives the cell life, gives the cell energy, cell can do its job, cell is healthy, you are healthy. Glucose staying in the bloodstream, dangerous, dangerous. Glucose in the bloodstream is highly inflammatory, highly damaging. When this is lingering, it starts damaging, it actually causes damage all over the place. It's damaging your arteries, it's damaging your blood vessels, it is damaging even your brain, it actually hurts the brain, it's flowing through your blood, it's flowing through your organs, putting pressure on the kidney, damaging kidney tissue, CKD, it flows through the liver, starts to impact organ function of the liver, so you have cholesterol problems can begin, triglyceride problems can start, belly fat starts being produced, your body starts to see all this damage. The glucose lingering in the bloodstream is so toxic, it can put you into a coma. And your body is a survival machine. So your body sees this happening. Your body sees your cells staying closed and the glucose lingering for a little bit too long after you ate. Your body goes, oh no, this is damaging. I can't have this. Everyone's gonna get hurt. I can't have that happen. Your body sends in an emergency response. This is the first stage of this insulin resistance, okay? Your body sends in an emergency response. It comes in, it takes the glucose and it clears it for you. It gets the glucose out of the bloodstream. The cells didn't get it. The cells are still hungry. They didn't get fed. They're starting to struggle. They're losing energy because they're not getting the glucose. Problems begin from that, with things like fatigue and all things we talked about that earlier. I won't go back into it. But there's also, again, the lingering damage from the blood sugar. But anyways, the emergency response cleared the glucose artificially, a different pathway of clearing it. It did not put it into the cells, but it just got the blood sugar out of the bloodstream for you. And now the body is going, whew, thank gosh. Thank gosh, everybody can calm down. Organs, you can calm down. Inflammation can calm down. Brain, you can relax. Everyone can relax. Arteries, blood vessels, plaque buildup. Everything can stop. We got rid of the glucose. This is how dangerous it is. And people don't even know they have it. This is a silent condition. Okay, so you have to understand what this was doing to you. Now, everything calms down and then you eat again. And it happens again. The cells are still staying closed. Emergency response has to come back in again and clear the glucose. And then you have dinner, so it happens again. Then the next day you got breakfast, it happens again. You have lunch, it happens again. You have dinner, it happens again. Every time you eat, every single day, this is happening. This backup response is getting damaged every single time you do it. It's actually an organ. It's actually an organ coming in and it's clearing this for you. Clearing this for you. Clearing this for you. Longer artificially clear the glucose for you from the bloodstream. Now you're in dangerous waters because now the backup, kind of like your fail safe, your body's survival machine. It will do what it can to keep you alive for as long as possible. So all your blood work has been normal. This can go on for 20 years. This can go on for 20, 30 years can go by and you won't even know because your organ is doing this for you every single time. And all your blood work is perfect the entire time. And then eventually it's going to stop being perfect. All right. What happens now is that organ begins to get too damaged, can't do it. So now you're eating, your food's going in. CJ, I saw that you texted me and I appreciate your support and I just saw you come in here. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Right. All right. So as what happens now is the glucose is being released when you eat, insulin's being released, the cells are staying closed. Emergency response comes in, tries to clear the glucose, can't do it. Now the glucose is lingering in the bloodstream. This glucose lingering is now lingering and the body's struggling to get rid of it because the backup has failed. So now glucose levels are rising in the bloodstream. If nothing clears the glucose after you eat properly, now the glucose begins to linger in the bloodstream. Your glucose levels are now rising in the bloodstream. You see, your glucose, that's your blood sugar. It's the same thing. So now your blood sugar is starting to go up. Now your A1C is your 3-month average of your blood sugar. So now your A1C begins to move eventually. So you go to the doctor and you're doing your blood work and he goes, hey, your A1C, your blood sugar used to be a 5.2. Now it's a 5.3. Now it's a 5.6. Your blood sugar is going up. Be careful about that. And you're sitting there like, what did I do the last couple months? It's not a couple months. This is 20 years in the making. This is a long time before that begins. 20 years can go by. All right. So it's a long history of you getting to where you are today. Now, as A1C continues to go up, right? You get borderline diabetes. As it gets worse and worse, you get more and more sick. That's pre-diabetes, right? You get to the higher levels of A1C. And as you get worse and worse, that's when you get type 2 full-blown diabetes. Diabetes is just end stage insulin resistance. All it means is you're just at the later stages. You're just very deep where now you have a blood sugar problem, but it was there for many decades. All right. So with that being said, now you understand how you became diabetic. If you're a gestational diabetic, same thing. All right. But what happened is the pregnancy just pushed you overboard, right? It raised your insulin too much and it pushed you over the threshold for the blood sugar to break. And it can either go back to normal after the pregnancy, but you're still if you're gestational diabetes and it goes away afterwards, you're not out of the woods. You were still insulin resistant. You were on the verge of diabetes anyways. The pregnancy pushed you over and you're going to come back down after the pregnancy. But if you don't fix this in 5 years, in 2 years, in 10 years, you'll get diabetes again. It always almost comes back because you have high insulin. So it's lingering and it will get pushed up again and you have like everybody else does over time. So as the damage builds. So if you had gestational, all right, it means you're insulin resistant. And so if you have the other weight gain and belly fat and triglycerides, you have other symptoms happening. Maybe your diabetes went away after the pregnancy, but if you have other symptoms, there's more evidence. All right, there we go. True. There we go. That happened to you. There you go. See, I appreciate it. Thank you, Lynette. Thank you. Okay, so now you understand how you got diabetes. That's that. Now let's go a little bit deeper. Let's go to the liver. So the liver comes into this again. I'm going to go to the liver. I'm not going to do the kidney today. I'm going to skip the kidney, but I will do PCOS and the heart. Then we're done. Going to solutions. Okay, I'm making my lives shorter because my lives I used to educate so much, and I'm gonna go faster for you guys. So today we'll do the liver, PCOS, heart, then we're done. In that will be blood pressure. In that will be plaque buildup. In that will be cholesterol, triglycerides. We're gonna hit a lot of things in there. Now the liver is that emergency organ. You're welcome, guys. That liver, you can reverse it. Yes. The thyroid I can do next time, Freckles. I can do thyroid next time. I'm trying to split the live up and kind of make them a little bit shorter. Okay, so when it comes to, where was I? Liver. So the liver is actually that backup organ coming in and clearing the glucose. It's your liver. So when I talked about the liver going in and clearing the glucose for you every single time you eat and getting damaged, it's the liver. And a lot of people don't understand their liver is getting sick because the symptoms of the liver getting sick are very subtle. And it was missed for 20 years. Here are the 4 biggest symptoms you need to look for to understand if your liver is going down, okay? First, you have belly fat. If you have belly fat, it's one of the biggest symptoms that your liver is literally screaming to you, I am sick, I need help. Belly fat, it's coming from the liver. The organ is pushing it out. If you have cholesterol problems, if you have triglyceride problems, like high triglycerides, for example, if you're on statin medications, there you go. Very, very common to get prescribed. As well as if you have inflammation, if you have body aches and pains, joint pains, if you guys have just stiffness when you're moving around, grunting when you're moving, for example, those 4 symptoms are the 4 ones you can look for really early to tell you if your liver is struggling. What happens here is this: the liver is, and how this happens, how these symptoms begin and how it leads to organ failure and fatty liver, is your liver is taking the glucose and it's actually pulling all the glucose from the body in the state where the cells are staying closed and the glucose is lingering. Liver comes in and takes all the glucose and pulls it into the liver. All the glucose from around the body is being pulled into this organ. It's one organ. This organ does 500 vital functions for you. It's your most powerful organ. It is by far your most powerful organ. It is taking all of this blood sugar into the organ. And it can't just evaporate the blood sugar. Your liver isn't magical. Your body isn't magic. It is hard science, but it's not magic. There's a process to everything, as I always say. Now, the liver is taking all the glucose in and it's converting it into other forms to get rid of it out of the bloodstream, to get your A1C to come down a little bit. It's trying to get the glucose converted. In converting the glucose and to keep your A1C very normal for all those 20 years when you have perfect blood sugar on paper, your liver has been getting beat up the whole time. Your liver's been taking it and converting it into things like fat. The liver makes fat and out of the glucose to convert it out of that form. You don't know right away. The fat is building inside the liver. You don't see it, all right? You're actually losing liver cells and they're turning into fat cells. Very dangerous to your long-term health to be losing your liver cells. And then when the fat is too big in the liver, it pushes the fat out of the liver and it actually surrounds the midsection. You have all of them, Rick. Okay, we can fix it all. Don't be nervous. All that means is it's so good you found my live. This is 100% fixable. It's one of the most reversible things in the world. And it's so prevalent, but it's so easy to fix. And we're going to do it tonight on my live. All right. So we'll get into solutions afterwards. You start them tonight at home. Okay. Now the liver's making all this fat. When there's too much fat in the liver, it pushes the fat out of the liver and it surrounds the midsection. You still don't see it right away. You can actually put a very skinny person in a scan. And when you look at the scan, it will be full of fat on the inside. It's on the inside. It's actually surrounding the organs inside the torso. Surrounding the organs inside the torso. Surrounding the organs inside the torso. You do. And that's highly toxic visceral fat. Visceral fat is not a joke. It's highly toxic. It's highly inflammatory. It's actually why you're having the joint pains, the inflammation issues. It's actually spreading all this inflammation. It's killing cells in your midsection, also releasing more cytokines and more inflammation. All right, it's actually going and it's damaging the liver. It's shooting inflammation at the liver through the portal vein, and it's hurting the liver even more, sending the liver into a deeper state of sickness. Belly fat's very serious. Okay, so it's also, the liver is also taking the glucose, converting it into triglycerides. Triglycerides start to go up. It converts it into cholesterol. Cholesterol can get imbalanced in all different ways. HDL, LDL, everyone's changes in different ways. But cholesterol problems, statin medications, very popular. And again, the inflammation. The liver is also getting very inflamed. Yes, inflammation from belly fat, but also inflammation building up in the liver as it's getting very stressed out and very damaged. The inflammation is leaving the liver, causing a lot of body aches and pains and inflammation issues, okay? A lot of inflammation being released. Eventually you get fatty liver disease. As this damage progresses, you eventually get fatty liver. Now the liver is doing over 500 vital functions for you. So other things are going to start breaking down in your body. Some people lose the gallbladder. Some people start getting hypothyroidism. Some people, because the liver is involved in almost everything in your body. So when the liver starts to go down, it's keeping your liver has been getting damaged all of these decades. And it's been keeping all the balls in the air, all of its 500 vital life-saving functions. It's been keeping them going and juggling all of this in the air. When it gets fatty liver and now it's too sick, it's so inflamed and damaged, balls begin to fall. Which ones begin to fall depend on your body. Some people, gallbladder. Other people, hypothyroidism. Those are two really common outcomes. For other people, diabetes, because the liver was controlling blood sugar for you. It was pulling it in and getting rid of it. So should the liver start to become unable to control this blood sugar and clearing the blood sugar for you, now if that breaks, which it does, boom, blood sugar begins to go up, diabetes. You see how the two are connected? They're directly connected. If you have one, the other's around the corner. They come together most of the time, either at the same time or a little bit apart. Okay, that's the liver. Let's go a little bit deeper. And if you do have liver disease, if you're looking down the barrel of a liver transplant, a kidney transplant, a heart transplant, you can put a brand new, thank you guys, I appreciate the comments. You guys can put the liver is involved in the production of hypothyroidism. Yes. Other things cause that. Yes. But the liver does play a big role. I won't talk about it today. I don't have time today. Maybe tomorrow I'll do hypothyroidism. Or was I? If you guys are looking at getting a transplant, you're in stage, 2, 3, 4, 5 organ failure of your liver, your kidney, or your heart, you have to understand this. You can put a brand new organ in your body. You can put a brand new liver and a brand new kidney in. But that brand new kidney, that brand new liver, when it goes in there, will start to get damaged by the same factors. So that's why you're a new organ. You're not out of the woods afterwards. You put a brand new liver in a body with insulin resistance, the new liver comes in and immediately, boom, it has to start pulling all that glucose in. It's going to manage all this damage, and it's going to start to also get damaged. It'll start getting inflamed. And so the same process happens again. So that's why your new organ is so vulnerable, because you're putting it into a very sick body that took down the organ the first time. If you've already had a transplant, no problem. You can either walk away. People I coach, for example, they don't need the transplant anymore. You can go from stage 4 organ failure and you can walk right away from having that transplant. You don't need it no more. Your organs have an incredible capacity to heal should you stop the damage attacking them, right? And if you already had surgery and you already had a transplant, no problem. Fix this now and protect the new organ, okay? So let's move forward. Let's talk about, it does cause hair loss. Yeah, it does. The blood sugar and the insulin both have direct impacts on the hair follicles, but also there's some indirect impacts because the insulin resistance will affect your sex hormones, testosterone, estrogen, and those go on to also affect the hair follicles. So for a lot of people, they will see hair loss, yes. Okay, but then it comes back. It comes back once you fix it, okay? All right, so let's talk about PCOS, the heart, then we're done. PCOS is fast. So for females, actually, does anybody want PCOS? Some people did before. How many people here have PCOS? If not a lot of you have it, I might drop it. So let me know. Comment on PCOS. Otherwise, we will. And for those who are asking what to do, please be aware that in my lives, I educate first. My lives are, I teach insulin resistance, I teach the chronic disease, and then I teach you how to fix it. And I'm not going to skip the education piece to get to the solutions because then it won't make sense. All right. So it looks like a lot of people here have PCOS. So I will keep PCOS today, especially for Melanie, because Melanie has been sitting here since the very beginning asking for it. So especially for Melanie, we will do it. So PCOS. Now, those are really easy. It's not, the ovary is very simple. The ovary does, your daughter has it. Okay, so teach this to your daughter. Your ovaries, the ovary in the female body does a lot of important things. And also men, please be aware, this affects the testes too. Testosterone, your sex hormones. I'm doing the females today, but men, you get the same impact, a little bit different because different body parts, but it does impact you too. Leading cause of infertility and reproductive issues. Leading cause of erectile dysfunction in both genders, okay? So infertility in both genders, ED in men, PCOS in females, even cysts, though, you have fibroids, endometriosis, there's a lot of tentacles to this. Anyways, I'll do PCOS to make it really simple. In the ovary is one example of how this impacts the female body. The ovary does a lot of important things for females. One important thing the ovary does is it is responsible for taking androgens and converting the androgens into estrogen. So the female should have low testosterone, low androgens, and high estrogen. And the ovary does that by taking them and converting it. It converts the androgens into estrogen and it pumps out all this estrogen. The estrogen gives the female her fertility, her monthly cycle, her period, all that beautiful stuff. Now the ovary actually needs insulin to do this. The ovary cannot convert and create estrogen without insulin. The issue is, in this conversion process, it gets disrupted when there's too much insulin in the body. As you learned in my live, you have insulin resistance. You have this massive level of insulin. Your insulin, instead of being a healthy level of insulin, your insulin got shot up to here and it got stuck for all the reasons I educated you on before this happened. When your insulin is getting higher and higher and higher and higher, and as it gets really, really high, your ovary needing the insulin, for a lot of females, this high level of insulin starts to actually disrupt the function of the ovary. It's overwhelming the ovary. It's so much insulin bombarding the ovary every single day and night, and the ovary cannot handle it forever. It starts to break down the same way other organs begin to break down from being so overwhelmed. It's very, very popular, this outcome. So now the ovary needed insulin and is now getting way too much. This conversion process starts to get disrupted by too much insulin. Ovary stops being able to convert. So now the ovary is not taking androgens and converting into estrogen. The androgens are building up. Females are told, oh, you're just overproducing androgens. Incorrect. Your body knows exactly how to create androgens. It knows exactly how to do it and what it wants and how much it wants. The issue is, it's the ovary's job to manage it and convert it. And so when the ovary can't convert it, they start to build up. You're not overproducing, it's building. And now on the estrogen side, because it's not converting, now it's declining. The estrogen is falling because you can't produce it. And so now she has low estrogen, high androgens, high testosterone, and that gives her, the high testosterone in particular, gives her the facial hair, the belly fat, the adult acne, all the repercussions. Fibroids start to happen as well. And this, as you go down, those become very common. And then infertility, missing your cycle and infertility. Birth control and Ozempic, there we go. So many females are being told to go on Ozempic and to go on birth control. How is birth control the solution? How is birth control going to fix insulin? That's like, it's like statin medications. How is a statin medication going to fix this? It doesn't. They don't do that, right? The medications it's mind-boggling, the advice they give people. It's like, how are those drugs? It's not you guys, it's just big pharma. Big pharma is like, here's the solution, give her a birth control. That's not going to fix the insulin. It's gonna regulate her hormones artificially. It's not gonna change insulin though. It's gonna hijack her body to control her hormones artificially. But that won't fix the problem, which is why females who do those solutions, eventually the insulin starts coming back to the surface because you're suppressing the symptoms, right? I always think of it this way. I'll make it more clear as we go through, all right? I will give it, exactly, yeah, exactly. Thank you guys. This is such a messy, I've been making so many doodles on my pad when I talk to you guys. Let me get a better one. Always think, there we go. This is from the last live, less messy. Always think about it. Insulin resistance is the condition. When you guys go to big pharma, the leaves of the tree, those are different symptoms. Ovaries get affected, PCOS, infertility, reproductive problems, endothelial cells, vascular problems, right? You have your, liver goes down, liver becomes affected by this, liver disease, triglyceride problems, cholesterol problems, belly fat, all these symptoms. You start doing medications up here to suppress the symptoms, that doesn't fix this. So you're suppressing on paper, you look good on paper, but you're getting sicker, which is why you end up on more medication in the future, right? So we're gonna talk about fixing the insulin resistance. The last thing I'm gonna talk about is gonna be the heart. I'll talk about the heart, and then we're done. The heart, blood pressure, plaque buildup, stent surgery, bypass surgery. I'm gonna wrap it all into one as the best I can. Even circulation problems, blood clotting also come into this as well. Rhythm issues, arrhythmia, AFib gets so much worse, electrical problems. You have to understand that the insulin resistance affects your vascular system. There's nothing that is safe from it. If you have no heart disease, no rhythm issues, no arrhythmias, you don't have any valvular disease, that's good, but this will cause it, okay? Blood pressure problems, plaque buildup, this will cause it. If you already have some there and then you get insulin resistance, it will take it, it'll make it worse. It can make AFib so much worse. It messes up all the electrical signals. You have to understand, I'm gonna talk about a slice of heart disease, but please understand that there's everything else I'm not talking about is still in this. I just don't have time. I would need like a full 2 hours to go through the entire impact on the heart system and vascular system. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do the heart and we're done. I'm gonna go into solutions, okay? When it comes to heart disease, you need to understand this is the most life-saving part of my life. Please educate your family on this. This is the #1 killer worldwide via insulin resistance, okay? So what you're gonna do, and what I'm gonna teach you is this. I'm gonna try to pull a lot of stuff into here. When you are metabolically healthy, okay? your body is supposed to be creating nitric oxide. Nitric oxide should be nice and high in the body. This nitric oxide is actually used by your body, and it actually keeps your blood vessels nice and open and wide and stretchy. It's really, really good. Your vessels are open, they're wide, they're stretchy, so the blood can flow all over the place really easily. It's easy for your heart to pump the blood without having to use a lot of pressure. Blood pressure is nice and low. That's fantastic. But then you get insulin resistance. Insulin is climbing in your body now. And as insulin gets higher and higher and higher, again, this is damaging your brain, causing Alzheimer's, damaging, again, your liver, your kidney, the ovaries, the testes, all the different parts of the body, causing your obesity. It's causing your blood sugar issues. It's causing diabetes. It's causing all the, this is the villain of the story. It's the villain for your heart as well. The insulin getting too high starts to disrupt your body's ability to create nitric oxide. So nitric oxide, as insulin goes up, nitric oxide is being disrupted, and now your body can't produce it properly. It starts to fall. As this is falling, well, your blood vessels and your veins and your arteries are using this to stay open. So now they're actually constricting. The lower this falls, the more narrow and constricted the blood vessels get. Now your heart has to pump hard to move the blood through these little channels. Because think about it, try blowing air through a very, very big, a big tube, like a toilet paper roll or like a Bounty roll, very big. You just breathe. There's no pressure at all. It's so wide. It's easy. Well, then try blowing air through a very tiny, tiny straw, like a little stir stick. You have to push a lot harder. You have to use a lot more pressure to force the air to funnel, big air capacity to funnel through the little channels. That's what your heart is doing with your blood, taking all this blood and trying to force it through these little tiny little openings. These openings are already only like 2 millimeters wide. They're tiny. These are microscopic little openings, and now they're getting even smaller. Your heart is going, whoa, I'm trying to move the blood, and there's all this pressure now that I need to use to move it because the channels are so small. At the same time, this nitric oxide coming down does affect your platelets. It does affect blood clotting. It does affect circulation. So now you have circulation for a lot of people. They even start seeing these other tentacles of happening in terms of blood clotting and circulation issues. All right, all different types. It also starts affecting even tingling in the hands and stuff like that. A lot of different repercussions come from this. Let's move forward. And what also begins to happen is the insulin, as it's really, really high, it also begins to increase blood volume. Yes, the channels are getting even smaller, but the blood volume is also increasing because it actually increases sodium retention. It also tells aldosterone to do the same. So now you have two hormones, aldosterone and insulin, both causing the water and sodium. Because when sodium comes into the blood, water has to come into the blood to balance out the sodium. So the water is increasing blood volume now. So now your blood volume is getting bigger and your channels are getting smaller. This is a recipe for a disaster. Blood pressure is going to go up. This is what happened. This is the lead. This is what causes blood pressure. You got blood pressure? All right. This is why you have blood pressure. So this is a leading cause of it. Most people who have blood pressure, it's because of metabolic sickness, and this is what actually this is the mechanics behind it. At the same time, this insulin is also a growth hormone. Okay, it does over 1,000 things for you. One of its things that it does is it's a growth hormone. When you have regular insulin, nice and metabolically healthy, a normal level of insulin, a regular level of growth hormone, fantastic for the body. Now you have this unhealthy level of insulin, unhealthy level of growth hormone, way too much growth hormone, starts creating overgrowth of your skin all over the body on the inside. All right, it connects to a lot of different things, or even skin tags. Actually, some girls get, it actually connects to endometriosis. It connects to a lot of different outcomes. A lot of the pain in endometriosis is because of that overgrowth happening of the uterine skin lining. It's very painful for the female. But other conditions, other things, for example, is skin tags. Some people start getting skin tags on the outside of their body. And they're like, why am I getting skin tags? It's not the skin that's the problem. It's the growth hormone is causing overgrowth inside the body and sometimes on the outside of the body in the form of skin tags on the outside. They go away once you fix it, once you get rid of insulin resistance. But on the inside of the body, the most vulnerable location this is happening is your blood vessels. Your blood vessels are highly vulnerable to this insulin. Really, this is one of the first places that start to get impacted. Hence why blood pressure is in every single family. This is a global crisis of blood pressure problem, and they wonder where it comes from. It's the same thing. It's highly vulnerable. So So what happens here is the skin that lines your blood vessels start to overgrow. They're thickening and thickening and thickening, but they don't grow on the outside. They grow on the inside of the tube. So the tube, as the walls just start to thicken like crazy, it actually starts to, it's not like skin tags, it's like a full overgrowth of the whole tube on the inside. The whole tube is literally shrinking on the inside. And because the skin is getting thicker, it's actually getting stiff and it's getting rigid and it's getting tough. It is so thick. Think of like an elastic band. A thin elastic band, easy to open. A really thick elastic band, it's harder to open. It's hard to move it. That's your blood vessels. They are getting hard. Your heart is now really struggling to open the blood vessels. They're getting stiff, they're getting rigid, it's getting really firm, and it's hard to move the blood. And blood pressure continues to go up. Here's where it gets deadly though. This is where it gets dangerous. The high insulin starts to actually create oxidative stress in the blood vessel walls. This is highly damaging, highly damaging. When the oxidative stress begins to build in the blood vessel walls, your body knows it's dangerous. Your body sends molecules to your blood vessels immediately, trying to get rid of the oxidative stress. In doing this, the molecules arrive and the molecules are getting rid of it, and they are helping you, but there is a reaction. That reaction is inflammation, and the inflammation there's actually a whole pathway here that happens, and it starts creating plaque buildup. Plaque buildup starts to build up in the blood vessel walls. This is highly dangerous. I just educated you. Your blood vessels are tiny. They're already constricted. They're overgrowing. There's all this pressure already building. The blood volume is in the tubes, putting pressure on the inside of the tube. And now you have plaque coming into the tube, making it even more constricted. As you guys can see where I'm going with this, this is the leading cause of heart attack. This is the leading cause of stroke worldwide. Insulin resistance is the leading cause of death worldwide via causing heart attack, stroke, cardiac arrest, rhythm issues, blood clotting issues, you name it. There's an endless, even the electrical signals, AFib gets 10 times worse. Everything gets worse with this if you have any existing conditions. If you have none, it's creating plaque buildup. It's the leading cause of bypass surgery. It's a leading cause of stent surgery. It's a leading cause of all these different surgeries for the heart. It's all insulin resistance. You have to understand that you need to fix insulin resistance to fix the problem. A lot of you guys are doing stent surgeries, bypass surgeries. You're on blood pressure medication. How is that going to fix the problem? Really walk me through this. Let me walk you through it actually. You go look at your medication for blood pressure. When you go on your blood pressure medication, you're going to Google the name of your blood pressure and medication. And when you do that, it is going to give you the result that your medication is a nitric oxide mimicking solution. All you're doing is increasing nitric oxide every day you take that medication. I'm not saying don't take your medication. I'm saying take it. It's good to help you temporarily. But if you treat that like that's a solution, that temporarily increasing this is a solution, you're heading down the wrong path and you're going to end up in the same state with a heart attack, stroke, or cardiac arrest. You have to understand, I never said that nitric oxide was the problem. This is the symptom. You're treating a symptom every single day. Big Pharma, once again, swooping in with symptom. They're the king of symptom management, artificially increasing nitric oxide. That does not fix the insulin. You're gonna stay on the medication and you're gonna use it, but you need to also fix this, because when you fix the insulin resistance, this comes down, nitric oxide goes back to normal by itself, but also the blood vessels go back to normal. Plaque buildup will stop. Oxidative stress will stop. If you don't fix this, that will not stop and you are still gonna have a heart attack. Why do you think in the United States, every 32 seconds, somebody dies of a heart attack? That is not because they're not on medication. They're all on medication. They're all doing stent surgeries. They're all doing bypass. You can put stents in your heart all you want. You can do bypass surgery all you want and to balloon up where the plaque is, but the plaque will still grow because the insulin is still there. So you have to fix this. You have to. Even if you have surgery, you have to fix this. The stents, the bypass surgeries, the blood pressure medication, they are solutions just to temporarily hold you over, to give you an opportunity to fix the insulin before it takes you down. Okay? This is life-saving information. Teach this to your family, you'll save your dad's life. You'll save your mom's life because you're going to get them healthy and they are not going to walk towards a heart attack. This is a leading cause of death worldwide. You can walk your whole family away from it. Let's go into solutions, how you're going to do that. All right. So when it comes to these solutions, everybody, Shannon, thank you guys. I appreciate it. When it comes to these solutions, you're going to notice I've had to change the solution period. So there are, I can only talk about two now. I had to learn the hard way after, I've been up here for years. For those who know me, I've been doing this for like 3 years. I've been educating publicly for about 3 years on these things. I used to have a lot more that I would share in the solution period. but I have learned the hard way through consequences. I have to be really careful of what I can share. So I'm going to give you guys, they're still the ones that I can are the best ones. They are the best ones. So it's okay. We still got the best ones that I can share with you guys. Okay. For those who I coach privately in the Facebook group, everything's in there. So you guys are all good to go, but just on here, it's different. Okay. Okay, so going into the solutions, what we need to do is there's those 4 pillars. Thank you guys so much. I'm so glad that the education was really helpful. Oh, DJ Opal, welcome back to my live. Great to see you. Of the 4 pillars I taught you about, there's the insulin, the glucose, both causing damage. There's the oxidative stress that's moving through the body, just like you heard in the blood vessels, right? And guys, if you guys have cholesterol problems, that oxidative stress, that is what is trapping your LDL. LDL is not harmful until the insulin resistance, your LDL is good for you. People say LDL is bad. LDL is good for you. You cannot live without LDL. You are made of LDL. God did not give you LDL cholesterol as a joke and say, oh, I'm going to give you all these beautiful things in your body, but here's LDL, a really harmful cholesterol, and have fun dealing with that. No, you have LDL because you need it, because you're made of LDL. Where LDL gets dangerous is when you have insulin resistance, your LDL changes. Your body stops creating big fat LDL. It starts creating small, tiny LDL particles. When they're big, healthy LDL, not dangerous. They move through the blood, and when they hit the wall, they hit the blood vessel wall, the artery wall, they just bounce off it and they keep going because they're so big. But when you have insulin resistance, this high insulin changes and makes the liver sick, and you get these really small, tiny, dense LDL. This small LDL, as they bounce around the arteries and the blood vessels, when they hit the wall, instead of bouncing off it and continuing to go, they get trapped in the wall. They slide in the wall. And when they slide in the wall, the same insulin resistance that created that LDL to get in there is the same insulin resistance that oxidized the blood vessel wall. And now that oxidative stress is combining with the LDL, that's your plaque buildup. That's your plaque buildup. Okay, that's where it came from. Both insulin resistance is creating all these changes in the body that then turn into these bigger issues. Okay. Anyway, so like I was saying, insulin, glucose, oxidative stress, all right, as well as inflammation. Those are the 4 pillars we have to fix. Moving through into these solutions, the biggest one that I'm going to educate on, that I can on here, is going to be food. All right, food is the leading cause of insulin resistance, and it's not this condition did not come, like, you got to think about it. When I say that we have 93% of people that are metabolically unhealthy. 93% of people is a spectrum. You start metabolically unhealthy with insulin starting to become a problem. And then I say to you guys that over half of the population, including your children, already have enough metabolic sickness. It's pushed them over the spectrum into the side of insulin resistance. They're already now into the condition zone where they have conditions. All right. When I say that almost the whole planet is on this spectrum, 93% of people are on this spectrum. That's not an accident. It's a systemic issue. What systemic issue do we have? Is our toxic food supply. Our food supply is extremely toxic. All right. When exactly, Melanie, we have a lot of food issues that we're going to talk about. Now, to give you guys an idea of how powerful this is, I'm going to give you guys a story from my history. I gave it earlier, but a lot of people came in afterwards. I'll get it really quickly here so you guys know a little bit more about who I am, where I come from, but also this story really wraps up why I speak the way I don't have any forgiveness when it comes to the food industry, and I'm very strict when I give you guys the advice on this. I don't have like a middle zone, and so it helps to know where I come from. I come from research. I was a researcher. I was not always public as a coach. I had a whole bunch of knowledge in my head, but that's because I spent 20 hours a day in a lab. I did my own experiments. I'd run my own. I'd conduct my own. I would draft them. You know, I had a whole research team. I had food scientists that worked on my team. And all we did, like 20 hours a day, 15 hours a day, we were up all night running human trials, human subject, multi-million-dollar studies that we were running to understand the human body. Now I did human subjects, but there were a couple researchers in my lab that worked on my experiments, and they were part-time. They worked part-time for me and part-time in another lab. The other lab was a food lab. Now you have to understand, the food industry is only really a couple companies. When you walk into a store and you have all these brands and companies on the shelf, they might seem like 1,000 different brands, but they actually all roll up into just a few. There's only a few companies own the whole food supply chain, okay? They're powerful. Those companies would commission this food lab, and they do that all the time. It's normal. They're always doing that with food labs. And that was one of them. And they would commission this food lab, and every single time these scientists would come back into my lab and they tell me, Dana, again, this week, this month, whatever, we did this experiment on this food with this ingredient for this company. And once again, we found, like always, the ingredients that they're choosing to use are so toxic, that when you buy it from the store and you bring it home and you give it to your children, you put it in your body, you're putting it in yours, your spouse. These ingredients are so powerful that when they get inside of you, they can actually, what they do is they cut into your DNA. Think of a knife just slicing open your DNA. That's what they slice it right open. Then they get in it. They don't just cut it open and leave. They cut it open, they get inside of it. These ingredients are getting in your DNA. And when they get inside of your human DNA, they don't just do nothing. They begin to mutate it. They are mutating your DNA. Google how harmful that is. Google the type of things that begin to happen when you mutate your DNA a little bit too much. That all is bad, but it starts to really compound and it results in really, really unfortunate end results. These ingredients are so powerful, they get inside of your cells and they start to actually kill different parts of the cell. It actually neutralizes different part of the cells. Some of them act like glue traps. The ingredients get inside the cell because when you eat, everything you eat goes into your body. You're putting it into your body. Your body has to absorb it and deal with everything you put inside of it. And when those ingredients get inside of you, they go into your body, they go into the cell. They go into your tissues, your organs, and they get down into the cells. When they get in there, they actually can clock in and they actually neutralize the same part of the cells every single time. It's like they're hunting down that part of the cell. They act like glue traps, some of them, where they get in there and they actually can glue on to different parts of the cell. And when they glue onto it, whatever they glue onto, it's a permanent glue trap. The enzyme, for example, can never get out and then it dies. That's how powerful the glue trap is. It kills whatever it glue traps onto, but it often targets the same thing. There's all these affects neurotransmitters in the brain. There's all these repercussions. There's so many repercussions, altering the reward signals in the brain, all these different things. And every single time the researchers would draft up the results and they would give their study to the company and say, okay, once again, recommendation, don't use. Recommendation, highly toxic. Recommendation, don't put in food supply. And every single time, you know what they would do? They would bury the study because they're a monopoly. They can do what they want. And so they bury the study, private studies, they don't gotta publish them, and they choose to use the ingredient anyways. It's still all inside of all those ingredients, they're all in our food, all right? These ingredients. These are highly toxic, but here's the thing. They're not trying to make you sick. That is not their goal. Their goal is not to make you sick, but their goal is to make money. The same ingredients that I'm talking about that are super unhealthy for us are the exact same ingredients that are very addictive. They're the same ingredients that make the food taste so good. They're the exact same ingredients where the food companies can remove things that are heavier, that fill you up, like wheat and stuff like that. They can remove those items and put this stuff in instead. And that doesn't make you feel full. It's so light that it actually can replace the heavy ingredients and not make you feel full when you eat it. So you can have a lot more. And thank God you can eat so much more, because that also triggers reward signals in the brain. It actually hijacks the neurotransmitters in your brain to hijack the signals, to force reward signals that you didn't even want going off, that shouldn't have been going off, to make you want to eat more. And so now you want to eat more and you can't eat more because the food isn't making you full. You can have a whole bag of chips in one sitting. You ever have chips and you're watching a movie and you put them away, you only want to have one bowl of chips, and then you're watching the movie and you're like, why do I need another bowl? Like, I have to have another bowl. They are hijacking you, you see? They're hijacking the brain, and you're like, I have to have another way. And you go and you get another bowl. And thank God you weren't full. You could fit the whole bowl. So you can finish a whole bag of chips in one night and buy another one the next night, and that's the goal. Their goal is not to make you sick, but their goal is how good can we make our food taste so they don't switch to our competitor. We want them having our cereal and sticking on our cereal and not eating our competitor's cereal. What can we use to make it taste way better than our competitors? What can we use to make sure they can eat more and buy more quickly, and they can finish a whole bag of chips quickly or a whole bag of cookies quickly and buy it again in the same week, or really quickly, instead of it lasting 2 weeks, it lasts, a couple days. That's how they get their profits. This is what drives the decision. All right. You have to understand the food companies the food companies have nothing to do with human health. Food companies are not health companies. So we can't hold them to that level, because they don't care about that. That's not what they care about this. So you have to have your own back when it comes to the food. So they don't have your back. You have to have your own back. How do you do that? I'll teach you. But also, this is, just to break it down, this is the leading cause of insulin resistance. This is what actually is attacking the cell. Everything I taught you before about what's happening inside of the cell is all coming from this. When you eat food, like I taught you guys before, some people say, what is the damage? What food am I talking about? You know what I'm talking about. You know what you think I'm talking about whole food from Mother Nature? Do you think bananas are splicing into your DNA? Do you think tomatoes are hijacking your brain? Do you think cucumbers are mutating your DNA? No. It's processed foods. Mother Nature, good for you. We evolved for millions of years eating fruits and vegetables and meats and plant proteins. That's good for us. But unfortunately, 70% of the food consumed worldwide is processed, altered by humans. 70%. Only 30% of the food consumed worldwide is actually from Mother Nature, untouched by humans, and that's the problem. When we're eating food, healthy food from Mother Nature, goes into the system, gets converted into glucose. Glucose goes up to a nice healthy level. This is proper. This is a normal level of glucose, healthy, not damaging. Insulin, therefore, goes to a healthy level. So insulin will then open up the cells nicely. It doesn't overwhelm the cells. It puts a little bit of glucose in the cells. All the cells are getting food. Glucose goes back to normal because the cells are using it. Insulin is like, cool, my job is done. I'm going to come down. That's metabolically healthy because the normal food doesn't mess all this up. You start putting processed food in the body, 70% of the food consumed worldwide, the majority of our meals are from this category. When this goes into your system, your glucose does not go up to here. Your glucose spikes. This is spiking your glucose way higher than it was ever meant to go. It was never meant to go here. It was never meant to go this high. This is new. Our human species never ate this before. This is really crazy. We evolved for millions and millions of years through other species to become the Homo sapien species, never seeing this. And now we're getting it and the body can't handle it. Now we have glucose spiking. This means insulin is spiking. Now we have again, you guys learned this earlier. I'm doing a fast recap here because it's been a while. I want you guys need to know this to heal this. I'm going to target all of this in the solutions. Glucose is way too high now. Insulin is spiking. Every time you eat, glucose is spiking. Every time you eat, it's doing this. Then it comes back down and it spikes again. Insulin is also way too high now because the insulin has to always match the glucose. Now you have way too high insulin causing again, how did it get up here? Remember I told you guys you have chronically elevated level of insulin. It gets stuck up here. When it gets too high, it gets stuck up here. That's how this happened. The PCOS, the high insulin disrupting the PCOS. All the stuff I taught you about, the obesity and fat burning getting shut off. This insulin got elevated by the food companies. It all comes back to the food companies and that caused this under the surface. All right. And then the cells are now overwhelmed. It's way too much insulin pounding on the cell and they get overwhelmed. It's way too much glucose going into the cell. The cells didn't want all this glucose and all this, and they wanted a little bit. Now they're getting way too much. The cells can't handle it. And it starts to cause inflammation and damage in the cell. The mitochondria, like I told you earlier, the mitochondria gets damaged, all right? For the first step, if it's lagging for you, refresh your app. It will stop lagging for you. What happens here is the glucose is getting inside the cell. When insulin gets released, it opens the cell, but now there's way too much insulin opening it. It's getting opened way too many times. The glucose is bombarding the cell. Is way too much glucose instead of a little bit. It's way too much. Cell can't handle it. All that glucose is going to the mitochondria and it's hurting the mitochondria. The mitochondria inside the cell keeps the cell alive. If that mitochondria keeps getting hit with all of this glucose, it kills the mitochondria. So your cell is, I'm gonna target all of this damage. I'm teaching you this because I'm gonna teach you which nutrients to target to fix the damage on the cell. You can actually target healing. You don't gotta do some overall stuff. You can actually directly target where the damage is with different nutrients. Now, the glucose going into the cell, think of it this way. The mitochondria is like the powerhouse of the cell. It keeps the cell alive. Think about me. I'm in Toronto. I'm in Canada. In Toronto, there's power plants in my city. The power plants give electricity to hospitals, businesses. The whole city is alive because of electricity. Imagine something came to my city or your city and just took out all your power plants. It took out all the backup generators. Hospitals would go dark. Surgeries would stop. Street lights would turn off. Everything would go dark. It would be anarchy in the street. It would be just pure anarchy in Toronto if the whole city went dark for, 3 months, for example. How do you think your cells feel when the mitochondria are getting knocked out? And that's what's keeping the cell alive. It gives ATP energy. When it burns the glucose, it creates energy, right? And now the mitochondria are slowing down because they're getting way too much glucose. It's impacting them. Your cell is watching this and your cell knows. Your cell is literally thinking, hey, if I don't fix this, I'm gonna die. And your cell doesn't wanna die because your cell has a job to do. You wanna be able to think and walk and talk all day? You need your cells alive and working. So your cell is getting scared and it starts to actually understand it's going down and your cell knocks out the insulin receptor. So remember these points. I'm going to come back to that. The insulin receptor just got knocked out. That's now broken. That stops insulin. Insulin can no longer tap on it. Now, why is the cell staying closed? The cell knocked out the receptor. So now you understand that's where it came from. This insulin is knocking and knocking and knocking on the cell. The receptor's turned off. So now the cell is locked. It was trying to save itself. And it did temporarily help itself. It saved the mitochondria from being overloaded by all this glucose. But now a new problem begins, because now insulin can't open the cell. You see? And now the glucose, it was too much glucose. Now it's deprived of glucose. Now there's not enough glucose getting in at all. And now the cell is starving. It's lost its food source. And now the cell goes into starvation. Now it can't function properly. Now it's a lot of issues here. So now the cell becomes sick and it begins to fall. And again, this is all the problems now. Glucose is not getting into the cell. Glucose is staying in the bloodstream. There's way too much insulin, all this inflammation, all this oxidative stress. Those are the 4 pillars, you see? So everything I taught you comes back right down to the food companies. It all started and it also all ends with the food company. We're going to fix all of this now. So first thing you're going to do is, of course, you're going to stop buying processed foods. Number one, you have to stop. The processed foods is what caused this to start. So number one, before we even get into targeting healing, you got to stop the damage. If you're going to do things to heal, but you're going to keep adding in new damage from the processed foods, you're going to heal and get sick and heal and get sick. It's going to be a never-ending cycle. Don't do that. Step one, stop the processed foods. When you go to the store, Whole Foods, Mother Nature. Act like you're, and again, you might think it's that simple. It really is that simple. We are one of 8.3 million, we human species are one species of 8.3 million species on this planet. We're just one. We are the only species with diabetes. We're the only species having heart attacks. We're the only species on this planet having liver failure and kidney failure and all these, getting gallbladders removed because their body is just breaking down. You don't see diabetic chipmunks flying around your backyard. There's no diabetic squirrels or birds that are so obese they're falling from the sky because they can't fly anymore because they're all struggling with an obesity epidemic. We're the only species. Your cats and Shannon, your cats and dogs are getting diabetes because you're feeding it processed foods from the food companies. So you're proving my point. The food companies are giving your cats and dogs diabetes the same way they're giving you diabetes. You put your cats and dogs into the wild, you go look at hyenas and lions in the wild, they don't got diabetes, right? Because they're eating Mother Nature. It's really this simple. So, and it starts with that. There's more things you can do to, of course, now that there's a lot of damage, we got to target the damage to get the damage out. You got detoxing is very powerful. You got to get all this out. But step one, you're going to act like you're a gorilla, because it's not, gorillas don't have PubMed, giraffes don't have PubMed, they're not Googling which things to eat. It's not that complicated. You just go to the store and you don't got to do a bunch of research. You don't got to be afraid of fruit. So people are afraid of fruit today. They're afraid of having fat. They're getting fat-free yogurt, fat-free milk. They're getting fat-free proteins. Dude, you cannot absorb protein. You can't use protein without fat. So when you're having fat-free protein, what are you doing? You're going to the gym, you're working out, coming home to have protein with no fat in it. Your body's like, I have all this protein, sure. I can't do anything with it because I don't have any fat to do. You need the fat. The fat helps you absorb vitamins. You have to understand that what has happened is all this propaganda that has now told you, convinced you to be afraid of what you were. We evolved eating these things. What do you think our species did? All the other animals on the planet can have healthy fat. All the other planets all the other animals on the planet can have fruit, but you can't have fruit suddenly. You suddenly can't have fat. Why? When every other species can, including the human species, for all these years, 300,000 years, we've been eating this way. And suddenly in 2025, you can't have fruit anymore. Suddenly in 2025, fat is no longer allowed. Fat-free yogurts and fat-free everything. Come on. Don't let them trick you. It's easy to be tricked when it comes to food, and I understand that. But what I'm trying to explain to you is let go of all that stuff. Just let go of it all. Just erase it from your memory and pretend you are a gorilla. Pretend you are an orangutan and just go into the food store, and when you get in there, you are gonna pick up stuff from Mother Nature. If there's dirt on it, I love that. If it comes from a plant, if it's a meat protein, I don't care what it is, animal protein, whatever it is, plant protein, just get natural stuff from Mother Nature. All right, if it's in a box, if it's with a barcode on it, if it's not from Mother Nature, skip it. All right, so you wanna you wanna go into that area. Okay, so go into the whole food area. Don't worry about counting amino acids. Don't be afraid of fruit. You don't need to be. All right. The whole thing about the glycemic index, everybody's so afraid of fruit. You're supposed to eat fruit. Fruit's good for you. I have fruit every single day. If you don't eat fruit, you're going to be lacking a lot of micronutrients and a lot of things your body needs. You get fruit back in your diet. Okay, so, and healthy fats. So the two most important things that have been removed, I would argue. Okay, so where else are we? Okay, so not just are you going to start to remove the processed foods and go into whole foods, you can actually use whole food to target healing. How do you think your body operates? All right. Okay, so fruit is not dangerous the same way let me get into the fruit thing, okay? One, when you have metabolic sickness, your blood sugar is more unstable. You could have seeds and have a blood sugar spike because you're diabetic now, or because you have insulin. You're gonna have unstable blood sugar. It's not appropriate to villainize the fruit because you have, and say all fruit is bad because A, B, and C. It's not how it works. Once you have metabolic sickness, yes, the fruit is going to have more of a response in your body because you have insulin resistance. Then, of course, if you're diabetic, 10 times worse, 100 times worse. However, inherent in fruit, you can look up the glycemic index of like a watermelon. It's gonna be like 80. It's gonna be huge. And then you look up the glycemic load of a watermelon. It's like 2. Because when you look at the whole fruit, Mother Nature always puts protection. Whenever there's sugar in Mother Nature, there's protections. There's phytosterols, there's fibers, and it wraps around the sugar and it protects you from it. So you can actually have it. And when you're metabolically healthy, it's not gonna hurt you the same way. If you are super sensitive though in the beginning and you're noticing, hey, for me in particular, I find that A, B, and C is particularly, spiking in this point in time, especially when I'm insulin resistant and my blood sugar is so unstable. That's normal. And so you don't want to do that one. That's okay. That's gonna be, when that normalizes, you can put it back in. Right? Even I work with some of the top experts in the world on this topic, and they eat fruit every single day. Bananas, grapes, strawberries. If you want though, go for the berries. Berries have more fiber and less of the sugar, so they're gentler on the glucose for those who are phytosterols. For those who are seeing more blood sugar instability, but by and large, they're not your enemy. Fruit is so again, we're afraid of this. We've been made to question fruit. We've been made to question fat, but no one's questioning granola bars. No one's questioning fruit roll-ups. And we're preoccupied villainizing the fruit, but we're so afraid, but we're not afraid of all this stuff, right? Make sure you switch back over here. Okay. In switching back over here, what you're gonna do though, and yeah, if you wanna go organic, so there's layers. Step one is, the 90% of the battle is just getting back to whole food. In the whole food area, once you got that under your belt and you're all solid and all your food is now whole food, then you can, if you want, layer in organic. I eat organic, hormone-free, antibiotic-free, and I eat local, all local farms. I don't do nothing. I really don't get things that have to get flown in if I don't need to, because that also, there's the consequences that come from that distance as well. As soon as you pick something off a plant, it begins to die. It's lost. You've removed the item, the apple, from its life source. It's now in a state of death. So now the apple begins to decline. If you have to ship it across the world to get it to you, how much time was it flying for? And so it's not that good for you the same way something local would be, where you get it straight from the source and it hasn't had 2 weeks and things sprayed on it to preserve it. You don't want to have to get things that needed to have so much work done to it to make it survive the distance. Again, so you want to try to go, if it's local, less stuff is likely being used to make it stay alive long enough to get to you. Avocado oil is good, yes. Avocado oil, coconut oil, and I'm sorry, I'm burning out. What's my last one? Coconut oil, avocado, olive oil. Those are the three. Those are the three that are good. The rest, I don't mess with the rest. Okay, so I wouldn't recommend it. There are some, like all of the seed oils obviously is a huge no, but like canola oil, vegetable oil, soybean oils, no, right? There's some like sesame oils that depending on where you get it, it can be okay, but like I can't trust where it's coming from. I can't tell how they're making it, and therefore I don't mess with those oils either. Okay, because when they are done bad, they're highly inflammatory, and you don't want to be adding that into your body. Okay, let's go a little bit deeper. You can actually use nutrients to target though. Okay, so yes, moving over to whole foods, fantastic. Once you're in the whole food division, you can actually use nutrients to do targeting for you. And there's a little bit of a thing here I want to also, this actually comes in a twofold. One, I don't want to do this because I know I have to be, I've had to remove some stuff from my lives, and so I'm trying to figure out how I make this flow nicely without bringing that up. Okay, so when it comes to prioritizing nutrients, here's the thing. We do have a problem in the whole food area that is also worth addressing. In the whole food area, we actually have a decline of nutrients, because nutrients are how you heal. I want to get into the nutrient piece here, because nutrients is literally how you can target insulin. You can target the cell receptors and turn the receptor back on. You can use different nutrients to actually fix oxidative stress, all the inflammation, all the oxidative stress in the cell that's building up even the free radicals that are getting in there. I didn't talk about that yet, but you can actually neutralize and you can get all that out, and you can actually detox out the cell and get the cells functioning better. This is pure science. This is confirmed. You can do this if you use the right nutrients. The issue with our modern food environment right now is that we have a nutrient collapse in our food because of the soil. We have a lot of things contributing to the food industry, the modern farming practices, a lot of issues, but the soil degradation is the biggest collapse. How do you think plants get their nutrients? When you have an apple, how do you think the apple gets nutrients? Apples get nutrients, oranges get nutrients because they get it from the soil. The plant doesn't just like appear in the apple. It has to get there. It doesn't just like fly through the sky and the apple suddenly has nutrients, right? The nutrients are just like getting in there from the sky. No, it comes from the soil. Plants pull nutrients from the soil and it goes up and it goes into the vegetables, or, if it's in the, if it's cabbage in the soil, whatever. Either way, we have a dead soil crisis worldwide. We've had an 80% collapse of nutrients of our whole food stemming from a combination of issues, but especially the dead soil. If the soil is dead, no more vitamins, no more minerals, no more micronutrients in the soil, the plants struggle to get it. That's why when you Google what should be in an apple, it says all this amazing stuff. And then you go and you look at clinical studies, which exist. There's entire fields of studies that's all they do is this. And they actually look at what's in an apple today, and instead of this, it's this. We have an 80% collapse of nutrients of our whole food. This means you have to have a lot more whole food to make up for that collapse. So for example, oranges, you have to have 20, in some studies, you have to have 8 oranges every single day to get the same as 1 orange used to give you. Other studies show you have to have as many as 21 oranges every single day to get the same as 1 orange used to give you. That's the extent of the soil collapse. It's a huge crisis. It's a huge, huge crisis in the research community. It's not publicly known that well for some reason. It should be. It should be talked about. Now, this is obviously not a good solution. The solution is not going to be, please go buy 21 apples or 21 oranges and 21 potatoes and 21 chicken breasts every single day and eat that. And if you have a family of 5, you're going to buy 100 apples a day, 100 chicken breasts. It's not feasible. This is why all the experts you listen to, I'm not an expert, but the experts you do listen to, for example, like Dr. Huberman, Dr. Hyman, Dr. Ben Vikman, Dr. Lustig, they all supplement, and there's a reason for it. Dr. Jason Fung, Dr. Mindy Pelz, all these big people you guys love to watch, they're amazing, right? They all supplement, and there's a reason. Even though they eat very healthy, they understand it is very hard to close all the nutrient gaps. So should you be someone who wants to go a little bit deeper and use supplementation to help your body heal, because again, you can remove the insulin resistance, right? You can get rid of the insulin to come back down and heal the cells, but you can start to remove the processed food to stop the new damage. But there's a bunch of existing damage that you want to get out of the system. And if you prioritize nutrients, you can activate that. Detoxing, for example, is an inherent part of your body. You have so many different detox pathways, and you can actually activate them all through healing. You can even activate the receptor again and the insulin. You can do a whole bunch of stuff. Let me get into those. I'm going to go through which ingredients target which things. And I'm going to go through, what I'm going to do too, is I'm going to use the supplement that I take to do it, because you can use whatever you want, but I'm going to use the one I take in order to actually break down different nutrients for you in a really easy to kind of break down way. But what I'm going to do is, I don't care which supplements you take. You pick whatever ones you want that you want to take for your insulin resistance journey. Here's a resource. I want you to check all your supplements on the PDR.net. If somebody knows what that is, you can type it in. For those who don't know, it's called the PDR.net. Any company can make any supplement and put anything in it and say it does anything with no clinical testing. I know, because I used to work in the industry, so I know how it works. And that's the issue today, is people are getting all these supplements and there's not a single test that tells you if it actually works. If you go onto the PDR.net, the PDR is an open physician's desk reference for prescribing medication, but there's actually a trick to this. Yes, it's used by doctors to look up. When you look up medication in here, doctors can look up, I'm going to show you actually, I'll bring it up and I'll show you. They can look up all the side effects, all the interactions, all the adverse reactions, all the consequences of the medication. But also in here is supplements, clinically proven supplements. So yes, doctors use it for drugs, but you can use it for supplements. So you can actually get ones that you can trust, like Herbalife. Not in here. Kirkland, not in here, because they're not clinically validated. So right there, you can quickly check all your medications on here as well and see what it looks like with your meds, but you can also look at your supplements and you can find ones that are actually clinically tested so that you know what you're taking is actually doing what it's supposed to do in your system. Let me give you a system. Let me give you an idea quickly what this looks like, all right? It's not just for America. Anybody can access it. It's on Google. So you guys are good to go. How do I flip my mirror? There it is. I'm gonna mirror my thing quickly for you guys. Okay, so when you guys go to the website, I'm gonna show you first what it looks like with a medication. What you're gonna do, when you type in medication, I just did Ozempic really quickly. So when you put Ozempic in here, this is what it looks like for a drug first. And when you put this in, use it for your medication, all your medication, type them in. But when you scroll down, this is for Ozempic, you can see it gives you all these categories. So if you open up adverse reactions for a second, so now you can see all the clinically proven adverse reactions, all right? Severe, all the moderate, all clinically proven, all the mild reactions. You can look at all this. Open up box warnings, for example, and these are all the box warnings, which are pretty serious stuff. I can't say the words publicly. And then on here, I'll get in trouble, but you can even see, for example, drug interactions, right? These are all the clinically proven interactions, all the harmful effects should you run into any of these combinations. And this is what a medication looks like. So you should always look up your medication. This is massive. Look at, these are all consequences. This is all consequences of the medication, and it's long. This is just one drug. Everyone should understand fully what they're taking when they're prescribed it. So you can use this, all right? You can use organic fingernail polish. You can go through here, all right? And all your medications, it's so long. It goes on forever. This is huge. Just one medication, all right? All the different consequences to be aware of. This is what medication, this is so long. Like, it's just so long. That's medication on here. Then you go up and you can look up your supplements and you will see on there as well if it's clinically valid. If it's not, hold on, there we go. So use this. That's what the medication looks like, but you can use it for supplements too. Okay, the one I use though is in there. The one I use is in there. It is actually used by the top metabolic scientists on insulin. I didn't know that until more recently. The top scientists on insulin resistance, metabolic health, type 2 diabetes, liver failure, PCOS, they use this one as well. So the one I use is also being used by them. So you know that it's obviously, if it's good enough for the world's leading experts, it's good enough for me. It's good enough hopefully for you, or use whatever you want, but I'll give you mine. Anyways, I'm gonna go through what it is. And also the specific nutrients, so you can know what to target in whatever way you want to target, you can target, okay? All right, so the one I'm going to show you is this one here. I'm sure you've seen it before. I would be shocked if you haven't seen it, all right? It's going to be a heavy education. It's going to be a lot of different pathways and like different stuff. It's going to be a little bit dense, but I'll get through it hopefully as easily as possible for you guys. But it's these guys here. You guys have probably seen them before. This is made by Unicity. They are about 130 years old. They are a metabolic health research institute. All they do is clinical research on how plants and Mother Nature can heal the body and heal different conditions. And this is a nutraceutical, a clinically proven, over 50 clinical studies. It's called Unimate and Balance. Don't worry though, I'll give you all the information, the name again. I'll repeat the company and everything at the end, so don't worry about it. Just understand this is a clinically proven nutraceutical. All this company does for over 130 years is study how to use plants to heal the body. Why that is so powerful. And this used to be in pharmacies. You could have bought this from your pharmacy. That's how powerful it used to be in pharmacies. I'll give you that history exactly as well. But please understand how nutrients can do this. You are one walking, talking reflection of nutrients. Yes, you're one walking, talking mass of cells, but how do you think your cells work? How do you think your body works? Do you think you have drug receptors? Do you think you have Ozempic receptors in your body? Do you think God made you? And think about your body. Think about your body. Your cells are literally blind. Your cells have no eyes. Thank you guys for the gifts. Your cells have no eyes. This is how nutrients work in your system. They have no eyes. They have no nose. Your cells have no mouth. They're blind in darkness in your body, and the cell is just bouncing around. That's all in darkness in your body. And they have receptors. And they're just here floating around in your body in darkness, and they are just hoping. And they are just praying that you are eating healthy. And that way, when they're floating around in darkness, they're able to find and connect with nutrients that you ate that they need. And when they get the nutrient, when they connect that receptor, when a vitamin A gets in there, when all the nutrients, when phytosterols get in there, and boom, they get the nutrient that they need from your food, they pull it in and they're like, yes. And then they use it to do stuff like build muscles, like to help you see all these different things that you do. Literally nutrients do it. It is not drugs. We have this idea in our brain that drugs are healthy. Look at the consequences of the drug. Just one, look at these are all clinically proven consequences because it's not meant to go in your body. it's not meant to be there. When the drugs come in, they actually hijack the receptor. Instead of nutrients, you're putting pharmaceuticals that hijack into there, and that causes repercussions and all of these side effects because you're hijacking. Your body doesn't want to be hijacked. But God made your body with all these nutrient receptors, and he put you on a planet with nutrients all in Mother Nature. So all you have to do is go back to Mother Nature, and again, it was food that messed you up. It's going to be food that fixes you. If you have good concentrations of what you need, you can actually directly target. So let's go back. And now that you know why, vitamins and minerals and this is all just, all this is, you don't know what it is. It's vitamins, there's vitamin complexes, mineral complexes, phytosterols, there's fiber complexes, there's CGAs, methylxanthines, there's micronutrients, all different types of plant ingredients, including active plant ingredients that they put together to target the metabolic system, specifically to target insulin resistance. It's a clinically proven nutraceutical for insulin resistance. Nutraceutical is not a pharmaceutical. Nutraceutical is a plant-based solution that's clinically proven. You can't get that designation for no reason. You actually have to prove clinically that it can actually treat and reverse a condition just off of plants. And that's what it does. And what it's been proven to reverse is insulin resistance. It is just for that condition. And therefore, when you're going through and you target the roots, the insulin of the tree, all of this goes away. So we're going to talk about that. Anyways, let's go into the ingredients, okay? So, and to give you an idea of how effective this is, it used to be sold in pharmacies. Some people do ask me if it's still there. It's not in pharmacies anymore, and there's a reason for that. In the 80s and 90s, it was in pharmacies. I got people who used to buy it back then in the pharmacy. I have people who I work with today who used to take it back then. But the thing is, when all those studies came out, they were Germany publishing on it, Canada, U of T, St. Michael's Hospital, one of the top universities and one of the top 10 hospitals in the entire world publishing on it in clinical peer-reviewed journals. You had universities across the United States, including Ben Bickman at the University of Brigham Young. He's the world's top expert in this subject. He's on this. He's published 12 times on it. You have universities in Sydney, in Australia, publishing on it, including researchers at the Research Institute of Molecular Bioscience publishing on it. When all these studies started coming out all over the world, getting published in clinical journals, and those studies were showing people were taking this and not just suppressing symptoms, they were actually getting rid of the condition, and they no longer needed medication, blood pressure, statin medications, diabetes, insulin, all these medications going away. At that stage, it was taken out of pharmacies. You know, I don't know, and you can imagine why. Why would Rexall, for example, in Canada, Rexall sold it. Anyone in Canada and the US, you guys know Rexall Pharmaceuticals, they sold it. But they stopped immediately when that started coming out, because why would Rexall Pharmaceuticals, one of the world's largest pharmaceutical producers and distributors, they produce most medications, why would they want on their shelf something that got people off their medication? That loses them. When you stop refilling medication, they lose money. So this was taken out. And that's why it's no longer in pharmacies, not because it doesn't work, because it works exactly as intended. All right, so, and with that, for example, let me show you my dad's story real quick so you know how it works. We're talking about reversing insulin resistance in a matter of months instead of years, which is so beautiful. Months instead of years. My father, for example, was 64. He went on this. At age of 64, he had blood pressure. We're Italian, right? And so he was eating pizza and pasta every single day, and I could not get him to stop. By 64 years old, he was not diabetic yet, but he was getting close. But he had liver disease. He had kidney function was very, very low GFR. He had belly fat, cholesterol issues. He was on statin medications. His triglycerides were through the roof. He had arthritis and inflammation. So his hands, he couldn't close them all the way. They were always stuck a little bit open. He could no longer close them. Like even kneading the dough, it was so painful, but he was so dedicated to making pizza and pasta. He would still do it even though it was painful for him. He had to retire early from his job as an engineer because he was too arthritic to do his job as an engineer. He couldn't use tools anymore. All these problems were happening, all the blood pressure medication, you name it, he had it. I put him on this at 64, and within 45 days, he was still making pizza, he was still making pasta every day, but in 45 days, blood pressure medication were done. His blood pressure was back to normal after 11 years of blood pressure medication, gone in 45 days, because it's very, very targeted. And then he kept going. By 3 months, he was done detoxing. The glucose was out, the inflammation was out, the oxidative stress was out. He had inflammation was gone, so he can actually open and close his hands fully. He could actually squat. I went to go visit him at 3 months, and he was in the hallway, and he was putting his hands out, and he was like squatting up and down. He was showing me that he could do squatting again. It was like the greatest thing since sliced bread. For him. He couldn't believe it. He was 64, and he was squatting, and he couldn't believe he could do that. He was ecstatic. That was 3 months, as well as statin medications were gone. Cholesterol was normal. He was really funny. Yeah, where was I? Cholesterol medication were normal and triglycerides, cholesterol numbers were normal and triglycerides were normal. That was just 3 months, which is very, very common. Those are really common to go away by 3 months for most people, I find. He kept going. And by 5 months, fatty liver was gone. And because of that, belly fat begins to go away. Again, always remember belly fat. I taught you belly fat comes from your liver. So you cannot fix your belly fat until you fix your liver. That's going to happen usually always first, and then belly fat is going to follow. So with him, 5 months, it was the liver. And then we're talking months, guys, a number of months to fix fatty liver. When you guys have, I can't talk about the topic. I'm not allowed to anymore, unfortunately. So there's some things that I will not comment on, as I told you guys earlier, because I can't. So you guys you got to bear with me and the limitations we got to follow. Okay. Where was I? Oh yeah. And then by 6 months, kidney was back to normal. And then by 7 months going into 8, heart disease, plaque buildup. You guys can fully remove plaque buildup. I know it sucks, guys. It sucks, but we'll do what we can while we can. But plaque buildup was gone by 7 and going into 8 months. Plaque buildup typically takes around 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months to get rid of. You can get rid of it if you target it. You have to get the oxidative stress gone. You have to get that all out of the blood vessels, right? Anyways, that was his journey. We're talking a matter of months. That's very, very common. Some people take 3 months, some are 5. My dad needed all the way to 7 months to get rid of everything, but he is extremely glad he did it. This is him today. This is 4 weeks ago now. This is him today. He's almost 70 years old. And this is him today. Almost 70 years old. No more belly fat. Looks fantastic. He's actually doing, he's working on his hands and knees again. He's using tools. Arthritis is gone. Here's him bending down. He's actually back to work as an engineer. He went back to work in month 4. He's doing fantastic. So this is the type of results. If you want targeted results, the program is really fantastic. I'm still going to give you all the nutrients, so you guys can still listen to what nutrients, the key, there's over like 100 nutrients in this. I'll go over the top ones that are, in my view, the most critical to the healing journey. But if you guys want to use this afterwards, you can, but you don't need to. All right, you pick whatever you want. Okay, so how it works is, in this, again, it's all going to come back down to nutrients and the right concentrations. The receptors on the cell, one of the biggest things that begin to happen, guys, is the receptors on the cell, like I told you, got knocked out. So what targets that receptor to turn that back on? We have to get the cells. When the receptor got knocked out, your cells are staying closed. And this precipitates a lot of damage. So getting the cells to open again requires getting this receptor working. What targets the receptor? Phytosterols and chromium are very, very, very powerful to target that receptor. In targeting this in the right concentration really quickly with this in the first month and a half, that receptor should be react. You can actually completely reactivate and restore those receptors. And that means insulin. When you eat food gets released, glucose gets released, insulin shows up. Insulin is now floating through the blood, wanting to get all this glucose into the cell. When the glucose binds, or the insulin binds to the cell, now your cells are opening again. And when those cells begin to open, that glucose will go inside. And so now you are clearing your glucose. If those cells are opening, you are clearing your glucose quickly when you eat, because your cell is no longer lingering. So there's so many advantages to just this one benefit of quickly opening those cells back up again. You can get a lot of damage mitigated. So boom, cells are opening. This means that glucose gets back inside. That means glucose going back to the mitochondria. Mitochondria are no longer starving. The more the mitochondria starve, the more free radicals are released in the cell and the more inflammation and damage building up. So when you get these cells opening, you are literally starting the process of healing the mitochondria, because they actually speed back up and start working properly should glucose get to them. It's not hard to heal the mitochondria. They just need to get their food again, and they will start to work again. And in working again, they stop releasing the free radicals that caused all the inflammation and all of the oxidative stress inside the cell. Now, cells are opening, glucose is getting back in, which is fantastic. So that receptor is critical to that process, but we can go a little bit deeper. There's another pathway that you can activate that helps to get that mitochondria turned back on. It's called the AMPK pathway. All right, the AMPK pathway, you can study it afterwards if you guys want to. It upregulates. When you turn on the AMPK pathway, it turns on 2 different things. I taught you guys about the bus drivers. Remember the bus drivers? Al, welcome to my live. Good to see you back in here. I taught you guys about the bus drivers. There was the big yellow school bus drivers, the magic school bus drivers, as we were joking about earlier in the live. There's actually 2 different types. One is for body fat, for fat substrates, and one is for glucose. AMPK pathway turns on both, okay? So that's a second pathway. The insulin binding, yes, that's a receptor being reactivated, opening up the cell. That is one pathway to help everything I just told you about before. The second pathway is the AMPK pathway. It's actually independent of the receptor. AMPK pathway is upregulated by, in here, the biggest things you can use: methylxanthines, phytosterols, polyphenols, and CGAs. Those 4, especially the CGAs. very powerful and targeting the AMPK pathway. And that turns on both of those buses. Now, those buses, let's break that back down. Earlier in my live, I told you that with fat burning, there's a shuttle bus driver, like the school bus driver, that packs all the fat on the bus. And it literally drives, it packs all the fat onto the bus of fat substrates, and it drives the fat into the mitochondria to get burned. So the mitochondria can actually burn body fat. And I taught you with high insulin, that gets shut off. It gets disrupted. Those bus drivers do not make it there anymore. So that stops happening. Now, with insulin still high, you can still support the AMPK pathway to get the bus drivers there. We're going to bring the insulin down as well. We will bring this down. So I'll talk about that in a minute. We're not there yet, but either way, the AMPK pathway is still independent of that insulin, which is amazing. As well as there's bus drivers in that pathway for the same yellow bus drivers for the glucose. It's a second pathway for glucose control. And again, if you're diabetic or not, you have to think about glucose. It's the crux of the condition. It's what started the whole thing off. So now you have little bus drivers for glucose, packing all that glucose, helping glucose get there, and for body fat getting there. That is this whole process I just talked to you about is you restoring two lines of energy to your cells. The glucose through two channels and the body fat through the CPT1s. Very powerful. That means your cells are getting not just one energy source back, but two. That includes your brain cells. That includes your liver cells. That includes your muscle. It includes so many cells through your body are benefiting from these pathways. When you have two sources of, and also metabolic flexibility, the ability to burn glucose and the ability to burn body fat, they're getting the metabolic flexibility back. So yes, you're going to be regulating glucose. Yes, which is so critical for the whole thing. But you also are regulating the body fat burning. Before body fat gets turned off, you're not getting body fat into the mitochondria. Well, now because the bus driver stopped, get the bus drivers going again, right? And also lower the insulin. We'll get to that in a minute. But either way, when you start to restore two lines of energy to your cells, you will start to see a bunch of benefits to the cell. Your cells are now opening. They're no longer starving. If your cells are no longer starving because they're actually burning two sources of energy, the cell is no longer starving. They stop actually changing your biology to send you hunger cravings. When they starve, biology will send more hunger cravings because it's trying to fix the cell. When these cells are now burning, this line of damage that causes hunger stops because the cells don't have to. They're not starving anymore. They're getting their energy. When the cells are getting fed their energy, the free radicals stop in the inside. So the inflammation will stop. It's going to stop creating new inflammation. In the brain, for example, it's heavily inflamed when you have this, but also your declining brain function, for example, the headaches, the migraines, the brain fog. But even if you don't have those symptoms, gene expression of your brain cells go up on this program. When those two lines of energy go back to the brain, your gene expression, which is the function of the brain cells, their expression of their genes, they actually increases. So you will see changes. A lot of people see a lot of sharpness in the beginning, like the change in sharpness and focus, even without prior symptoms. If you have memory loss, if you have the bigger symptoms of the cognitive decline, then you'll see much bigger changes. But even without changes or symptoms, you should feel a little bit of change in the brain just from the gene expression going up, which is really, really cool. Okay. And this is happening all over the body. Hunger cravings are going, energy is coming back. The cells, the basic feature of restoring energy to the cells in the very beginning of this program, even fatigue starts to go away. If your cells are no longer starving, they actually are burning and creating ATP energy. That means your cells across your body are getting ATP energy. Your constant fatigue, getting home from work and being exhausted and having no motivation to do anything every single day, no matter what you do, all the caffeine in the world can't fix ATP. You're fixing ATP. Energy goes back in the cells, energy comes back to your body. So all these little consequences it's really, really cool. Okay, let's go a little bit deeper though. When it comes to phone about to die, I know I have mine permanently plugged in when I do my lives. Okay, so when it comes to the cell receptor, we did a little bit there on the AMPK pathway. Let's go a little bit deeper on the glucose piece here, because the glucose piece is going to tie into some more nutrients that are really, really critical as well. So with insulin resistance, your insulin, yes, we're getting the cells opening, but we still have to bring down the insulin. This has to come down. This is causing so much damage every single day it's up here. Now, what helps you bring this down? I taught you that this cannot come down if your glucose is high. If your glucose is staying high, every time you eat, the food companies are spiking your glucose. This can't come down because this has to always match the glucose. So what we have to do is to bring this down, we have to bring the glucose down. We have to get the glucose nice and controlled and low. And should you keep your glucose low and controlled every single day? You're welcome, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Natalie. Every single time you keep your glucose, every single day that you keep your glucose low and controlled, insulin is way up here. It can be 20, 30, 40 times the normal limit. It's so high. And it's watching being like, hold on. If you're telling me that you're going to keep the glucose nice and low every single day, I don't got to be up here. I don't need to be this high anymore. And the insulin will fall back down. It's going to come and match this level, because this is the level that you're now creating in the body. It doesn't need to be so powerful to handle this. It comes down. It takes some time on this program. It takes months instead of years. So with glucose staying nice and low, how does the program facilitate this though? And this is also very, very important, not just for getting insulin to come down. You cannot keep spiking your glucose and opening this. If you are opening your cells and you are also simultaneously still spiking your glucose, you're opening them and then you're putting all this glucose and you're smashing it back into the cell. The cell locked up because of that, because you hurt it so bad. And so now you finally got it, you fixed the receptor, you got the AMPK pathway also working on it, the cell is opening, and then you smash it again. It's not gonna like that. It's gonna feel like you're playing a mean little game on it, right? You're tricking it. Don't do that. Open the cell, and then you need to control the glucose so you don't hurt the cell again. What in the program helps to keep the glucose nice and low? The two most powerful parts that I like of the 100 ingredients, the two most powerful for that piece is going to be the phytosterols and the fiber. Phytosterols are very powerful, but I'm going to talk about the fiber because I think they're both powerful, but the fiber is just like next level. Okay, so I'm going to go into that. The fiber complex in here. How does fiber, my chapstick's being annoying, sorry guys. How does fiber do that? How does fiber control glucose? It's very simple. I'm going to explain it to you by going back to Mother Nature. This is just Mother Nature. Again, all Unicity does is clinical research on how plants and things from Mother Nature heal the human body, because we are one with Mother Nature. That's why we're so sick today, is we come so far away from it. We're just putting Mother Nature back in your body. Now, what does fiber do with Mother Nature? Let's talk about that first, and then it's going to make sense what's happening in your body. When you walk into a forest, any single part of worldwide, any case of sugar existing in Mother Nature in the entire world, every single time you find sugar, it is always encased by Mother Nature with other things, notably what I just told you, phytosterols and fiber. Those are the always. The fiber is the most powerful one though. For example, even sugar cane, the rod of sugar, comes wrapped in a sheath of fiber on the outside. And it's just all these different species of fiber on the outside. Food companies strip off the sheath of fiber and they filter, they process the sugar on the inside and they put that in all the food, and then it just shoots your blood sugar of sugar because there's nothing to protect it anymore. So we stripped away all the protection. Even oranges, you juice an orange, it's just sugar water. It's dangerous. It's just a huge shot to your bloodstream because they took away all the nutrients. It all comes out of the orange when you do that juicing, and boom, just sugar. It's also why regular juicing is also dangerous. A lot of juicing people are doing it to help them, but it's actually causing insulin resistance because of the way they're juicing. So you gotta be careful of juicing. Anyways, let's bring it back. So what you're supposed to do is supposed to eat sugar with the protective casings. So in the rod of sugar, for example, keep the sheath on it instead of stripping it away. And if you did that, if you ate the sheath with the sugar rod in the inside, when that gets into your system, what actually happens is there's two categories of fiber. There's soluble and insoluble in that sheath. Okay, always soluble and insoluble, both there. There's many species of both are in there, not just one of both. There's many species of each one in there. When they get into your tract, they do two different things. They're active ingredients. The insoluble ones get into your tract and they begin to activate. When they activate, they bind together like this. The insoluble species begin to bind kind of like this, like a net. Think of like a fishing net, and leaves holes behind. The soluble ones are also getting in there and they activate as well. When they activate, the soluble ones, they don't bind, they swell. They swell up and it's almost like a ball. They turn into kind of like a ball, and they begin to plug all the holes of the net. And the two species literally form together. They actually bind together like this. They create a very strong binding agent in your intestinal tract when you eat it in Mother Nature with the sugar. And what actually happens is it becomes very sticky in your intestinal tract. It's sticky and it's thick and it's viscous, and it binds to the food. It starts to get all twined up in the food, and it binds to it, actually encases it. The sugar included is binding to it. When it binds to it, your body can't absorb fiber. So now the fiber is trapping the food. It actually pulls in the glucose. The glucose can no longer get out of the mesh, and it can't flood your bloodstream. My father would take this, for example. He had his pizza and his pasta every single day when he did this program. I couldn't make him stop. He's just too Italian. He'd make it and he lives alone with my mom, and he makes pasta every single day. I'm like, who are you cooking for? Like, we don't live here anymore. And he's making pasta at 6 a.m. He's so funny. Anyways, he kept doing that even on this program, but he would take this with it. He would do this with it, and the fiber would get into that pasta, and it would hold the carbs in it. It would hold the glucose in it. It can't flood the bloodstream. Instead of being able to have pasta and you have this massive glucose spike, This actually cuts your glucose spike down by 43% off the first time you use it, the very first time. Clinical studies done out of University of Sydney, I think it was, in 2018 or 2008. I forget what year it was, but they published on it, and they showed they used the worst of foods. They used the worst food, and they used this with it, and they showed the first time you use it on the worst of foods, a 43% collapse in blood sugar spike. Instead of a huge spike, it was reduced. Eat a little bit better than what they did in that study. Don't eat the worst of foods, eat a little bit healthier, and it's gonna be even stronger because you have less damage to have to mitigate. So eat a little bit healthier, and that's gonna be even better for you. But even if you are eating the worst of foods, at least you're still getting 43% of a reduction, clinically proven. Now, in holding the glucose back to, first of all, yes, glucose is now coming low, which is fantastic. No blood sugar spike, no blood sugar collapse, no hypoglycemia, no hunger cravings coming from that as well. There's a whole bunch of benefits that come from that. No blood sugar spike. This is damaging. This alone is inflammatory. Puts a load on your kidneys, CKD, puts a load on your liver, causing fatty liver, belly fat, triglyceride issues. This is inflammatory. It binds to your arteries, binds to your blood vessels, creating damage, plaque. This is damaging no matter what. All right. Keeping this down that alone is doing a lot to extend your lifespan. But insulin is also looking at that and can go it comes down. If you do not spike your glucose anymore, insulin is like, okay, cool. I don't got to be this strong anymore. I'm not needed up here anymore. I can come down. It does take time. We're talking months though, instead of years with this program. So it's not as long as it could be otherwise. And as it comes back down to normal, fantastic. Now both, this is also very harmful. This is also, you'll learn about all the damage. So you have these two very harmful things when they're too high, coming back to normalcy. However, let's go back to the fiber. The fiber is pulling the food in and it's keeping it in your tract. And I know I'm not looking at comments right now because this is all really scientific. I want to plow through the education and then I'll go to all the comments. I'll answer everything I couldn't answer in the moment, okay? So I don't want to keep stopping, otherwise I'll never get finished. All right, thank you guys. I appreciate the gifts. Thank you. Where was I? Now the fiber, this gets a lot deeper. Anybody on semaglutides, the weight loss pharmaceutical drugs, you want to listen to this part. Every single thing those drugs do, you can do naturally. You don't need to take a really toxic drug that is shortening your lifespan when you can do it naturally at home with nutrients. You don't have semaglutide receptors in your body. You do have nutrient receptors. The semaglutides are hijacking those receptors. Instead of hijacking those receptors, just do it naturally. Don't hijack, just target naturally. Okay, I'll tell you how to do it. I'll show you exactly what to do. The fiber complex, when it's pulling the food into your intestine and it's holding it in there, what happens without the fiber, our food today is diminished of fiber. Because of modern farming practices, soil depletion, because we actively strip fiber out. Fiber keeps you really full. So one of the big ingredients they often remove is always fiber because it keeps you full. And I talked about it earlier. They don't want to make you full, right? We talked about that earlier. The more you eat, the better. So we have this stripping of fiber today in our food, also because of the nutrient collapse naturally. And without fiber, the food gets into the intestines, and like I mentioned, it just floods the bloodstream because the fiber is missing. When you put fiber back in and it holds it in, now the glucose isn't being released, it's actually being held in the intestinal tract, and it's not being distilled in the upper region. Your intestinal tract is very long. Understand that. When you distill all the food in the early tract, the rest of your tract didn't get it, and that's not good for the rest of the tract. So there's actually things that go wrong when you stop feeding the whole tract and all the glucose is gone in the very first little chunk of your intestinal tract. When the fiber holds it back in and now it's holding in the glucose, it actually slows down gastric emptying. This slows down gastric emptying. That's what the fiber complex, that's what it does naturally. Again, Mother Nature, God gave Mother Nature everything it needs to do for you what you need for your health. And we've always had it, until we had food companies mess with our food supply and take all these beautiful things away from us. You put it back, watch what your body does. Anyways, when the fiber comes in, it's slowing down gastric emptying. The semaglutides, that's what they do. They slow down gastric emptying by paralyzing your intestines. It's harmful, it's toxic, it's fatal. You can do it naturally with Mother Nature. No harm, no toxins. It slows down naturally, and that is another channel of hunger going away. First channel of hunger going away was the cells opening, cells getting food. When those AMPK pathways activated, when that receptor is activated and now it can get glucose and it can also get body fat and it's burning, hunger stops coming from this direction. The cells aren't starving anymore and they don't send hunger cravings anymore. anymore. Intestinal tract, you slow down gastric emptying, hunger cravings stop from that direction too, because it actually keeps you full for longer. It activates satiety. That's the second channel of hunger cravings, or food noise going away with this program. Also, the blood sugar spike stopping means no blood sugar crash. No crash of blood sugar, no hunger. Hunger starts when you crash your blood sugar after a spike. If you keep your blood sugar nice and controlled with this program, there's no crashing, no hunger. It's the third level of no hunger noise coming from that direction. That's number 3. There's more, which I'll get into. But anyways, now gastric emptying is slowing. The hunger cravings are dissipating. My clients tell me this is more effective than their GLP-1s. They like this more than their GLP-1s in terms of the food noise and the benefits, of course, the health benefits. As it comes through, now the glucose is slowly being released through the tract. And when you are slowly releasing glucose throughout the entire tract as it goes along, that feeds your tract. That's feeding your entire tract. The entire tract is lined with cells. They all want food, especially the lower distal region of your intestinal tract. Please understand, the lower distal region of your intestinal tract has the highest concentration of intraendocrine L cells. Those intraendocrine L cells, those are your GLP-1 cells. You're taking a pharmaceutical, you're injecting yourself with a really harmful pharmaceutical, even though your body does it itself. It just shut off. Insulin resistance messes up the cells, it dysfunctions the cell wall, and it dysfunctions the gut, leaky gut inflammation. Lots of just gut dysfunction comes from this. I didn't talk about that today. I didn't talk about the intestinal damage that happens from this, but we're going to restore functionality to the intestinal wall and heal that wall, heal the cells. But then by pushing the food down there and releasing the glucose in the lower distal region, you activate the cells. The cells on the wall, they point down. They point down into the food. And so when the food is distilling, it actually activates the receptors on the cells. Those receptors are not pharmaceutical receptors. God did not make your body and say, I really hope that in 2025, God didn't make the human species 300,000 years ago. And then say, I really hope that in 2025, the human species creates big pharma. And that big pharma creates a drug called Ozempic. And then finally, I'm going to put these Ozempic receptors in your body. You're going to have all these Ozempic receptors everywhere and all these statin receptors everywhere. And finally, when they invent these drugs, they can inject themselves with these drugs and boom, activate. They can finally fix obesity for the first time in the world. No, that's not how the body works. You have nutrient receptors. And if you just get the food down there and you distill the food in that tract, they will bind to those intraendocrine L cells, and that produces not just GLP-1 hormone, it also produces GLP-2. Those cells also produce the CCK hormone, the PYY hormone, your ghrelin hormone. You have all these different intestinal hormones that come from your intestinal tract if you activate the tract. And what does it? Nutrients. Okay? Those nutrients, that fiber, for example, even differentiates your L cells. You're not just activating, you're literally going to be differentiating your L cells. It's just a powerful thing to do it this way versus the other way, if that is something that you are using. And those GLP-1, the GLP-1 hormone, GLP-2, ghrelin, CCK, PYY, those are all satiety hormones. They should all be in their proper place. When they get all dysfunctional, when you have insulin resistance, causing all this food noise, all these hunger cravings, you're addicted to Coke, like the pops and the sodas, you get hooked on all these different things, these sweets, because that's part of the dysfunction that's being caused, especially from those hormones being disrupted. You put all the hormones back to normal from producing them properly, all of that noise goes away. This is why that's the fourth channel of hunger control with this. Just all naturally God-given abilities. This is why my clients tell me this works better for them than the medication does, because those medications work in a very streamlined way of hijacking certain things. You just work in alignment with your body and you'll get a lot further every time. Let's go a little bit deeper into other topics. Let's go into inflammation. So we talked in my live so far with this solution. We talked about different nutrients that activate, that help you with hunger cravings. I covered nutrients that target the receptors. I covered nutrients that cover AMPK pathway to get fat burning back on, insulin coming back down, all these different nutrients. They're all working again in different pathways, and it all creates one big picture of healing. But we can go a little bit deeper and talk about inflammation and oxidative stress, including detoxing. Detoxing, exactly, inflammation, very, very. Hey, Vooch, welcome back to my live. Good to see you. All right, so where was I? Okay, so when it comes to inflammation and detoxing and oxidative stress, here's what you need to understand. The inflammation is building inside the cell. Now, we need to target in the cell, because when you have insulin resistance, the receptor deactivated, got knocked out. Insulin can't open the cell. Mitochondria slows down. It's no longer getting food. Mitochondria slows down. Mitochondria gets very, very sick. Mitochondria starts to cough. Think about when you're sick. The cell is sick and it's not healthy. Think of when you have a cold. When you're sick, you begin. I try to use analogies, and this is the best one I can make up for this example. Is when you have a cold, you cough, right, and you spread the virus. Well, when the mitochondria is sick, it is coughing and it's spreading free radicals. The free radicals, we need to target those. We need to target the free radicals. We have to stop those. The free radicals are tiny little particles and they're very sharp. They're like knives and they're bouncy. They bounce, whatever they touch, they bounce off of it. And whatever they touch, when they bounce off of it, they cut it right open. They just slice open whatever they touched. So when the free radicals are being released in the cell in the state of insulin, that's why the cell begins to die. It's getting so damaged. Free radicals are bouncing around the inside of the cell. They cut off the wall. They bounce off the wall. Sorry, they cut it open. They cut open the DNA in the cell. Everything's being cut. Even the LDL is being all cut up. The mitochondria is being cut. And what happens when you get a cut on your hand? What happens? It gets red. It gets inflamed, right? And the inflammation helps you heal. Inflammation is not inherently bad. It becomes bad when you have chronic inflammation. In the cell, these free radicals are unrelenting. They are unrelenting. So the cuts are unrelenting. The cell is getting inflamed and it's staying inflamed. It can't stop. It's trying to stop all the damage by staying inflamed, and that creates chronic inflammation and as well as oxidative. It's so stressful, it creates oxidative stress. What happens now is you don't see the inflammation in blood work. You go to the doctor, you're getting tested, all your numbers are normal. But the thing is, it's in the cell. It's localized in, you're not doing a biopsy, so they can't see it in there. You're not taking it goes from the cell and then it goes to tissues and organs. Unless you're doing a biopsy and analyzing the tissue, you're not going to see it, which is why it's missed and why no one talks about it. It eventually the damage does leak. The inflammation begins to leak out of the cell. It does. This is causing mass inflammation all over the body inside the cell at localized levels of the tissues, the organs, the cells. But it does eventually begin to come with target all of this. When it comes out, you have 6 liters of blood, my friends. You have a lot of blood. It takes a long time to get enough inflammation to see it in your blood work. And even at those levels, the testing is not that good for inflammation. Our tests they're okay. And so that's why you don't see it. So if you know you have inflammation, but your doctor's saying, no, you don't have any, believe in yourself. Always trust your gut. If you know you have inflammation, that's me validating to you to know that you know yourself more than the test knows you. All right. So it's okay to if you know that. Okay. So we need to target all of this. How do we target inflammation and oxidative stress? Let me tell you. First, there's going to be short chain fatty acid. This is going to build short chain fatty acids in your intestinal tract as you take this every day. And as it's fermenting all these ingredients, especially that fiber complex, one more time, that fiber complex. I know there's like 100 ingredients in here, but that really is a really powerful part of it. There are actually not the most powerful part. There's more powerful ingredients in here, but that's a really, really big one. But that one coming in, that's being fermented. When your intestinal tract is fermenting that ingredient matrix, it actually releases short chain fatty acids. When your intestinal tract, your microbiome begin to eat that fermentation, it creates short chain fatty acids. Again, just based on nutrients. You ferment the right fibers, it starts creating them. Short chain fatty acids like butyrate, propionate, people love those too. There's more. They are very small particles. They're very anti-inflammatory. They're very healing. They bounce around the intestinal tract and they do a lot of anti-inflammatory work and healing in the tract. If you have leaky gut, insulin resistance causes leaky gut. It also leads to antibodies, leads to mass inflammation. It leads to gut dysfunction and gut damage, breakdown of the membrane wall. You can take all the prebiotics and probiotics you want, right? If you are someone taking all this stuff and your gut still can't heal, you're missing the insulin. Insulin resistance is the energy behind the cell. The cells need energy. The cells, all the probiotics in the world can't fix energy breakdown. The cells become weak and they separate and gut dysfunction begins. Even with all the probiotics, you need to get the insulin resistance out of the cell wall, and that cell wall can strengthen again and use all the probiotics, all the prebiotics to stay nice and strong, because now you have ATP energy being created again. Again, they need energy, like every other part of your body needs energy to do their jobs and stay intact as a wall. So just a quick little caveat there. Anyways, because it leads to mass inflammation when that breaks down. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, so the short chain fatty acids bouncing around the intestines, doing all these beautiful anti-inflammatory healing, goes to your colon, then they leave the intestines. Those short chain fatty acids that you're producing naturally every single day leave the intestines and they move around the body and they do all this anti-inflammatory work. But there's a couple more things. That's one. one channel of anti-inflammation with this. This is a really good anti-inflammatory program. That's one channel. We also have saponins. There's a huge concentration of saponins in here. Saponins, Google them. They are and they do so much stuff. When I say, like, when I mention these nutrients to you, please understand, I'm giving you, like, saponins are really anti-inflammatory. Saponins also do just like a never-ending list of health benefits. I'm literally talking to you guys about a sliver of what this program does. There's so much that this does for you. Just understand, the saponins are also very, very anti-inflammatory all over the body, including inside of your tissues, including inside of your organs. Now, inflammation, when it goes into the cell and it's pulling out the inflammation, it's pulling it into your bloodway. You're going to see it because of that. You're going to see detoxing in a few different ways from this. But when inflammation comes out of your body, most people do see it, and I'll explain what that looks like. Same with the oxidative stress coming out, because it's actually antioxidants in here. There's a huge concentration of antioxidants. Antioxidants target oxidative stress. They help to neutralize free radicals. So you have antioxidants coming in as well, and they're targeting the oxidative stress components and the free radicals. You're going to stop the free radicals. The cell's functioning, but earlier I taught you guys the cell's functioning again, right? All those other ingredients are stopping the new damage. The new free radicals are not being, you healed the mitochondria. There's no new free radicals. This is about getting out the damage. We're using saponins, we're using antioxidants, and we're using the short chain fatty acids to get out the oxidative stress, to get out the free radicals, to get out the inflammation. All right, but there's one more. The other one is CGAs. Now, the CGAs actually activate your master detox pathway. All of your cells in your body, most of them, of your 40 trillion cells, most of the cells in the human body, including brain cells, liver cells, kidney cells, intestinal cells, heart cells, all of them have what's called the NFR2 detox pathway. It's the master detox pathway in the cell, which is phenomenal. And you can actually activate it. And you know what activates it? Not pharmaceuticals, nutrients. Like usual, it's always nutrients always wins. Always. Nutrients activate that switch. And when you turn on that switch, it pretty much puts a light on in the cell, and the cell goes, okay, where am I damaged? And it starts to just push out inflammation. It not only is it pushing out the inflammation and oxidative stress, when it clears out, now the cell can go into healing. If you clear out all the damage, all the LDL that was cut open and damaged, it actually can recycle new LDL, it can recycle new mitochondria. You are giving the cell the capacity to recycle old dead components, the enzymes that got stuck in that glue trap. It can build new enzymes. Should you get all the damage out, you can heal cell function. Your body has an incredible capacity to heal should you clear out the junk. Trust me. Okay, so, but the CGAs, what is in here that targets the NFR2 pathway is CGAs. And what has the highest, this actually has the highest concentration of CGAs of anything you can get anywhere. There's nothing else that exists with a higher level of CGAs. It actually has almost 400 times the strength of CGAs in this to really strongly hit that NFR2 pathway and cause a detox. And you're flushing out. And that's why you're going to see it. There's a really big activation of that, and you will, for most people, see that detoxing, which is really fun. And nothing bad happens. I'll tell you what it looks like in a minute. But it's just really, really powerful, that switch. And that's why there's five or six patents on it, just to protect that. Just to make sure nobody can ever come close to this level of CGAs that we have. And also that CGA pathway, the NFR2 pathway. What's really, really cool is that actually doesn't just pull out everything. It turns the cell into being proactive. Your cells can actually safeguard themselves from new damage coming in. You know how they do that? They actually build antioxidant shields. Your cells will build, if you turn on the NFR2, as it heals and it flushes out the old, it begins to get to a state of healing where the cell begins to actually build antioxidant shields. It's a shield of antioxidants inside of your cells. And when your cell does that, again, antioxidants deal with free radicals. They deal with oxidative stress. So let's say you're going through a bad time, a few weeks of bad eating, a few weeks of you're on vacation, and you're putting all this junk in the body at a resort, and it starts to now that's causing damage in the system. Well, you have antioxidant shields. So even as it starts to come back, if you start to damage yourself again with, bad eating or whatever, I'm not perfect. We go to restaurants, we encounter things like seed oils, all that kind of stuff. You're actually able to buffer against that damage because you built antioxidant shields. And the antioxidant shields that your cells build those are more powerful than any antioxidant you can take. There's no antioxidant outside of your body in Mother Nature or in in any kind of thing on the market that is stronger than your antioxidant shields that you can build. That is why this company gives you a ton of antioxidants in here, like a huge concentration. Plus gives you CG. See how beautiful this company is? They gave you CGAs so you can build your own antioxidants. That's why I love them. I love so they're just, this is all they do, is they do this kind of research. That's all they do, this company. So now you have your own antioxidant shields building for proactive protection long-term against the reemergence of any kind of a chronic disease from that damage inside the cell. I want to mention one more thing is detoxing. There's a couple different detox pathways as the body is actually pushing out all of this excess. Even excess glucose is coming out. When you have insulin resistance, you have glucose funneling all over the body. The body is taking all the glucose in the bloodstream and it's shoving it in organs and tissues not supposed to be in, just to keep your glucose low. Even if you're not diabetic. That's why even non-diabetics who go on this program, if you're not diabetic on this program, a lot of you still see detoxing because you still have insulin resistance and the glucose was still under the surface, which is why you still have the same symptoms of detoxing as diabetics. They're just more extreme, the diabetics, in terms of how much damage there is. But we all went through it when we first started. Glucose is coming out. Inflammation is coming out. Oxidative stress is coming out. And when that comes out, it goes into the bloodstream. It leaves the cells, leaves the organs, and it goes into the bloodstream. And the body filters it out. And so you pee it out. So this is why people will comment, why am I peeing so much in the beginning? That's it coming out. So drink a lot of water, be super excited. You're flushing out all this damage. And that can last, and people ask how long it lasts. It depends on you. Like, my question back to you is, how much damage do you have? Because the level of damage to flush out will then dictate and correspond to how long your body needs to get rid of it. A couple days or a couple weeks. Some people can take a month, depending on how much is in there that has to come out. Most people, though, it's pretty quick. And even your bowels will change because the nutrient complex in here, especially the fiber complex and how viscous it is, it's not only binding to food, it actually binds to seed oils. It's deactivating and neutralizing the inflammatory. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. You guys, that's actually neutralizing the inflammatory pathways of the seed oils. Even old seed oil that gets stuck on the walls, the fiber matrix, there's a lot of active ingredients. Most of the ingredients I just told you about, they're all active ingredients. Most of everything I just said is all active ingredients. But the fiber, they're also active and they actually scrub. When they're in your intestinal tract, they're actually scrubbing the walls. And so what happens in the first few weeks in the program is not only are you urinating a whole bunch every like 30 minutes, you're peeing every 45 minutes, depending on how much it has to come out, but your bowels change. Your bowel movements for the first few weeks can be a little bit funny because a lot is getting pulled out. Your intestinal tract has a lot of stuff in it. And so you might see some changes there too for a few weeks. Nothing bad. You just, it's a little bit different for a few weeks. Then it goes back to normal and you have very healthy bowel movements after that. One of the biggest comments I get is when they first start, Dana, I'm peeing all the time. I'm so excited. It finally started happening. 2, Dana, my bowels, I'm going twice a day. My bowels have been as healthy as it's ever been in like 20 years. Those are the 2 comments I usually get in the very beginning, and hunger noise going away. Usually in the first month, the hunger cravings are completely gone. In the first month, for most people, the first few weeks, some take a full month, depending on, again, all the channels that have to get worked out and where your body is starting at. Okay, with this being all said, I'm just going to bring it all in. It's a lot of education. It's a lot of information. It can be a little bit overwhelming. Let me just summarize it real quick, and then I'm going to go to the comments. I'm going to answer all the comments. Okay, so just know it's a nutraceutical. There are no side effects. It's a plant-based, it's all just nutrients from Mother Nature going back into your system. There's no side effects when your body has vitamins. When you go to the store, you pick up a banana. There's no side effect warning on bananas. There's no side effect warning or medication warning on watermelon because it's nutrients. It's meant to go in your body, right? So because of that, that's literally all this is. All right, so nutrients going back into you, there's no side effects, no interactions. It doesn't come up with any medication. If you want to prove it, you don't got to listen to me. You can fact check everything I say, and I'll show you even where to go. Like I said before, that beautiful resource, this is in the PDR. It's in there. That's how I found it. It's in the PDR. You can actually type this in afterwards and you can open it. I showed you what the medication looks like and what that looks like, the medication when you open this, and just all the stuff that's in there. You open this guy. This is Unicity. Type in Unicity. Unicity has 18 products, clinically proven products. You can only be in the PDR if you're clinically proven. You can't just have like one. You have to have a lot of studies. It's over 50 studies to get in here. This is a lot of research. This has over 10,000 hours of clinical studies on it. This is a lot of research to get in here. PDR, thank you, Michael, my moderator, thank you for being in here. Anyways, you find this under Unicity on here, you open it up and it's empty. It just has like health benefits, research, clinical research. So you don't gotta listen to me. You can fact check what I say. And you will see on here, when you open it up, here it is, Unicity, Inamase. When you open this thing up, prescribing information, full information. You open this thing up, you can do it on your own. I won't do it right now fully, but you'll see that this says like research benefits. It has dosage, safety. It's safe. It's well tolerated. It's made of plants, so there's nothing. This is so boring because it's made of plants. Plants are boring. There's nothing really to report, right? So it's really. But compared to when I put up the Ozempic, right? These are all the consequences. It is very, very different. So you guys can compare afterwards, but there's no side effects. Anyways. Made of plants, no side effects. I think that's everything. Oh yeah, so what it's gonna do though, it's gonna get rid of the insulin resistance. So as you are experiencing symptoms of that tree, right, at the very top here, you have to give it time to do this. We are not doing symptom management. So people ask how much time. All right, plants are they're far from boring when it comes to consequences because there's nothing to report. That's what I mean. It's boring on here. You're gonna open it up and be like, it's so simple because plants don't have consequences. There's not a huge thing to report on like there is for drugs. That's what I mean. It's boring in that context. It's fascinating in every other context. Okay, so we're fixing the roots here. Some people start the program and they want symptom management. That's not what we're doing. So let's be really clear what this is, who should be on this. If you're thinking to yourself, I want to go on something and I want to get rid of belly fat in 1 month and I want to suppress my weight in 1 month and lose 50 pounds in 1 month. This is not for you. That's Big Pharma. Big Pharma, call them. They'll give you a semaglutide. You will lose a lot of weight really fast. It's not going to be fun long term. You're going to come back to me in the future. We'll do it this healing way. If you're thinking to yourself, you want to heal and you're okay waiting to heal, that's the right mentality because we're not doing symptom management. Think of belly fat. If you want your belly fat to go away, well, think of what I taught you in my live. I taught you in my live that your liver is producing the belly fat. Your liver is literally sick and it's making metabolically active, highly inflammatory, highly damaging belly fat, and it's pushing it into the midsection. For us to get rid of the fat, we have to go to the liver. We got to heal the liver, my friend. And in order to heal the liver, we got to go to the cells. We got to go to the cell, the basic block, fix the inflammation, fix the oxidative stress. All this has to come out of the liver. All the fat buildup I taught you about, we have to fix all the way down here, all the insulin, all the glucose. And then when this is fixed and the cells begin to heal, and that means then the liver starts changing. Then the liver function starts changing. The liver starts to get, because the cells are getting healthy, the liver starts to change. Liver functionality comes back. Then we go to the weight, then the belly. It will stop producing metabolically active belly fat because it's getting healthier. So you can, and then also with the mitochondria healing in the cell, the mitochondria will begin to burn the fat, but you got to also stop producing it. So there's a couple things happening here, but this is not a pharmaceutical pathway. I don't care about pharmaceuticals. I don't care about symptoms. I care about root cause. So if you're looking to fix root cause, that's healing, and that's more appropriate than this program for yourself. And how long it takes, for those who are asking for that, 3, 6, 7 months, depending on the person. If let's say you've only been dealing with your weight just started to move, or maybe you just got blood pressure problems, or you just started having neuropathy, fibromyalgia, you got all these different issues. Maybe gout just started. Maybe you're peeing all night. You're waking up 3 times a night. You're just starting to get sick. These symptoms are the tree is starting to grow, and you haven't had this for that long. It's really new. 3 months. 3 months is good for that. You can really flesh out, you can heal, and you can start seeing that those early symptoms start to kick away in 3 months. It does take time still. It's a couple months. It took you 20 years to get sick. This is a long condition. This is not happening overnight. If you have insulin resistance, by the time symptoms begin, it's at least been 5 or 10 years, at least. All right, so we're talking years of damage in a couple months. Let's say you've been dealing with obesity for 20 years. You were a teenager and now you're 50 and you've had weight problems your whole life, or whatever it might be. It's been a lot longer, your horizon, maybe 10 years blood pressure medication, or whatever the symptoms began, your journey started getting complicated about 10, 20 years ago. It's going to take you probably around the 6, 7, 8 months to get all the way to your goals. Think about my dad, 45 days for blood pressure. Sure. Took him 3 months for cholesterol to go normal, to triglycerides to go normal, and for arthritis to go away so we can actually open and close his hands and he could squat and he was so ecstatic. 5 months for fatty liver for him. Some need 6 months for fatty liver or 7 months. It just depends on how much damage. If you're stage 4 organ failure, this will help you. My stage 4s turn that around, but it's not gonna take 3 months. You're a stage 4 organ failure. There's immense damage that we have to walk backwards, but we will do it. But I will give you, if you are starting this program with liver failure or organ failure, you gotta tell me. I can help you. There's more things you can do at home to slowly help the body heal faster than slower. So that's why I'm here to help you guys. Okay, with all that being said, again, 3, 6, 7 months, like either way, even if it takes you 6 or 7 months to heal, who cares? It took you 20 years to get here, and we're talking a matter of months to walk it backwards. That, my friend, that's awesome. Okay, so if you ever want to get it, what you can do is, if you want to Google it afterwards, you can Google it. It's just more expensive. You're going to pay, I think, it's like double the price. And don't do that. It's really expensive. It's like $250 otherwise. Don't do that. Mine gets it significantly less. So instead, it is $5 a day or $5.50 a day, depending on your currency. You pay in your currency. There's no tariffs. So if you're in Canada, you pay Canadian. If you're in the US, the website will be the US website. When you click on the link, it reads your VPN. If you're in Japan, if you're in Netherlands, if you're in the UK, if you're in Australia, if you're in Iceland, it's gonna pick up where you are in the VPN, and it's gonna open it for your country in your currency. So don't worry, you're gonna pay in your currency about $5.50 a day. So a cup of coffee per day to reverse chronic disease. And then how you will get it with my discount. Don't leave yet. I'll show you exactly what to do. All right. So that way you get the proper discount. And what you're going to do is, when you're ready, you're going to click on the photo. Don't leave yet. Click on the photo though. A panel will open, and you're going to click on the photo will be in the panel again. When the panel opens, click on the photo again. It will take you to my page. And when you go to my page, what's happening here? TikTok is doing a test. It's doing one of those. I got to do a thing. Hold on. There we go. This iPad is only for this. I've never used this iPad before. I only use it for this one thing. When you click on this photo, it goes here. It opens up to my Linktree. Sorry, my homepage here. Oh, I know it's backwards for you. I'm sorry. I'll flip it later. There's my photo at the top. My stats are here. Then it says girl with a neuroscience degree, helping people with their health. And there's a Linktree right below. It says Linktree Dana Estelle. Just click on that Linktree. I know it's backwards for you. I apologize. Either way. When it goes here, click on the very first box. This discount link, it's actually embedded in here. The testimonial page, open that up if you want. It's broken down by all different conditions: hair loss, diabetes, kidney, liver. You can check out what's going on here. Really, weight loss before and after, test results, all different ones here. But this link here, that one is the discount link. You open that up, all you're gonna do is wait for it to open. Look for my name in the top blue bar. That ensures I'm your coach. I am very good at what I do. You don't need my coaching if you don't want it. The program works by itself. But you will be detoxing, you will be changing. Things are gonna be different. Healing is non-linear, especially when you're detoxing and flushing out. A lot of things change. It helps to have someone who's a pro on metabolic health be like, yeah, this means this means this. It means your detox. It means this is super exciting news, versus it being nerve-wracking because you don't know what's going on. And also, depending on what you have too, I can give you guys more advice. I'm very good. I give a lot of advice. Ask my people that I coach. Iris, welcome back to my live. Oh, thank you so much, Iris. See, I coach Iris, for example. I have a coaching group. You guys get in the coaching group, all right? Because again, I'm limited otherwise on what I can communicate. I can speak freely on the Facebook group. Okay, so look for my name up here. That makes sure I'm your coach. If you ever do need me, I'm here for you. Just message me if you order. I'll give you my number. You text me anytime. Or also join the Facebook group. Now the buy now button, click on that guy there. When you click on that, all you're gonna do is you're gonna pick your 2 flavors. So you're gonna scroll down. Oh, thank you guys so much. I know, I honestly was crying. I cried for like 6 hours when that happened. You guys have no idea how devastated I was. And not the first time, but I was demoralized. So I'm so glad that I'm back. Okay, so here we go. Scroll down and you'll pick your 2 flavors. All right, pick your 2 flavors and then you can add to cart. I recommend subscription. It's free shipping. It's a lower base cost. You're never locked in. You're going to be committing anyways for, however long, 2, 3, 4, 5 months. It just puts it to your door every single month on time. You're never locked in. You can cancel anytime. It makes it way cheaper. You're going to pay significantly less by the end if you do it that way. Do not skip days. All right, lemon is the best flavor along with berry. Lemon and berry are my favorite, or lemon and orange, but lemon and berry I think are like global bestsellers now. So, but do not skip days. Even between shipments, don't mess that up, right? And do not skip in. If you're turning on detoxing and then you turn it off, if you're supporting the mitochondria and then you take their support away, and now they get hurt again the next day. Again, this is a very volatile time. Like the body is healing, and if it's getting like on and off again attacked by food and like inflammation, right, it's hard for the body to heal like that, and it really slows things down. Ask Michael. All right, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate all the support in today's live. You guys were super great when I first came in, and you can take it forever. Yeah, I've been on it forever. I got people who have been on this for, I think my longest is 14 years now. He's been on it. People I know personally, I know people have been on it for longer. It's been around since the 80s, but personally I know people who've been on it now for 14 years now. Okay. Yeah, Digital Destiny daily. Yes, I use it proactively. I do it proactively. My dad, for example, still on it. My dad, here's the thing, guys. A lot of people quit in the beginning of healing journeys because when they begin to heal, and when it comes to healing, it's boring. This program is boring in the beginning. You're healing at a microscopic level, the cells. You can't see mitochondrial function changing. You can't see all these changes. You can't see NFR2 turning on. You can't see cell structures getting healthier. You can't see that. But that's the building block. And this is happening in the first few months, and you can't see it. And so some people, they get discouraged, like, I don't see anything changing. Well, of course you don't. Unless you do a biopsy, which we do in the clinical studies, we do the biopsies, you can see it in the first few weeks, but you can't feel it. And even my dad fell prey to that, and my own father, my own flesh and blood, he quit on me. My own father quit. That's how powerful that beginning stage is of doubt. When you don't know if what you're doing is working, it's powerful. Even my own father quit. And I had to go all the way to his house. He was checking his blood pressure every single day, 3 times a day. I had to take his machine away. And on the day 30 in the first month, he quit. He said, it's not working for me. My blood sugar is the same. Everything's the same. Nothing's changing. I feel the same. I don't think it's working. And he quit. I had to go to his house. I had to sit with him for 2. My dad's very patient. He's the best man in my life. But he was very impatient when it came to this. I'd never seen him impatient before. And so it was new for me. But I had to sit with him and help him understand that he's not going to see changes in the first month. You can't, and you're not a bionic man, Dad. You can't see your cell structures changing. But that's where we are right now. We are not at the symptom level. We are at the cell structure level in the beginning, and you have to let that happen. And he agreed to go back on, and thank goodness he did, because only 15 days later, on day 45, his blood pressure went back to normal after 11 years. And now he's as healthy as a jelly bean. He does golfing every single week. He could not hold golf clubs before, and now he's golfing every single day, almost. I think every other day now he golfs. He's building all this stuff around the house. He's knocking walls down in the house. He's so active. It's maybe a little bit too active, but he's almost 70. And that's, people go on this and it's like it's so life changing. They'll message, but the best messages that I get, not just memories coming back when the brain starts to heal. Those are really powerful, as memories coming back. But I know, look at him now, eh? But and if you want to stop it after any amount of time, you can. Of course, it's easy. It's just nutrients. Asking if it's safe to stop is like asking, is it okay to stop eating bananas? You can eat bananas every single day for your whole life, and after 30 years, just stop eating bananas. Nothing's going to happen to you. You're just going to not take the nutrients in anymore from the bananas. Same with this, just nutrients. Healthy as a jelly bean, and I'm plagiarizing that. Big Andy, perfect. I use jelly bean a lot, but people go on this, for example, they get their circulation going and neuropathy goes away. They're not needing walkers anymore. They were using walkers for years, and now they're playing with their grandkids, and they're crawling around on the floor. They're walking, they're mowing the lawn for the very first time. Instead of their son doing it for the first time in 15 years, they're doing it. They voice note me while mowing the lawn, being like, Dana, like, I'm mowing my own lawn right now because I can walk and it doesn't hurt anymore. Like, just the benefits that come. We didn't talk about gout. We didn't talk about neuropathy. We didn't talk about tinnitus. We didn't talk about anemia. We didn't talk about ED. We didn't talk about so many conditions, kidney failure, kidney disease, CKD. There's so many big ones, Alzheimer's. We didn't talk about so many conditions, but it's mind-boggling, just the changes that begin to happen, because this is a root contributor to so much disease. Children can take it, yes. So children are good to take it. But if a child does start it, because again, over half of children, also have end-stage insulin resistance. They have diabetes, they got blood pressure issues, I got organ failure. Every month, more and more of you guys bring me your children who are 9 years old, 10 years old, full-blown liver failure, full-blown type 2 diabetes, full-blown metabolic dysfunction from insulin resistance. All those kids go on it. All those kids have beautiful turnarounds. But I do like to know when a child is on it, because children are a little bit different. The extra advice that I give in the coaching group, that I give over text messages, when you guys order, you're going to tell me. You're going to order, you're going to always tell me. Message me somewhere and let me know. And if it's a child that's going on it, if you're ordering from some people order from multiple people at once, Let me know if you're ordering for more than one person, because there's more discounts I can give you guys. But the kids, I will give them different advice because they're different. They're in their developmental stage. It's a different stage of life. So the extra advice is different for them. Fierce is a spicy flavor, which is amazing. People love it, but I do recommend starting with lemon and berry. Go for lemon and berry. Okay. Ooh, onset of menopause. Yes, when a girl becomes menopausal, she becomes more insulin resistant overnight. Like overnight it happens. Like it's so within days, she'll go from one level of insulin resistance and it takes it and amplifies it by 100. And because insulin results in belly fat and brain fog and all this disruption, it overlaps a lot of menopause symptoms. So it's like you have 2 channels hitting brain fog, 2 channels hitting belly fat, 2 channels hitting all these areas. But also the insulin literally directly impacts testosterone, progesterone, and estrogen at a time when the female body is trying to transition. This is disrupting it. So hot flashes are worse. The transition is messier. And so people who go through, females going through menopause, have such success when they take this away and they take all that aggravation away. You can move really smoothly through menopause. Hot flashes can come down. It's so beautiful. So if you're in that stage in particular, you should see more benefits than some others because you have a lot more going on and it's really calming. All right. Truly me. So you're going through that as well. Where is it? And if you have that mutation, no worries. I have lots of people who have that mutation. No problem. Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. All right. I missed a lot of comments. I'm going to scroll up because I know I missed a whole ton. And then where to order. So go to the link in my bio, click on the photo and the panel's going to pop up. Click on the photo again and go to the link in my bio. It's the very first box in the link tree once you open that up. If you can't find it, let me know and I'll show you again. Bonnie, is berry a good fiber? Are berries a good fiber? Yeah. Berries are good because berries are also lower on the sugar scale and higher in the fiber content. Instead of it being like kind of like sugar and fiber, it's actually like the sugar and fiber. So berries are usually a preferred fruit for that reason because it has a higher fiber to mitigate the sugar. So the glycemic load, not index, index is useless. The load is what you want to look at. The load is better for berries. Okay. Sebastian, when it comes to autism, I don't have enough, in my mind, I don't have enough studies that I've read directly on autism and connections to this. I should honestly, it comes up in all my lives. I really got to spend time and read more on it so I can comment confidently on this. But what I can say to you guys is ADHD, yes, as well as anxiety and depression. Massive, those 3. And a lot of people that I work with, they come entirely off of ADHD medication, the clients, because it turns out they didn't have ADHD. Some people, the manifestation of the condition hits the brain in certain people a lot more than in others. And when that happens, then you're going to see things like anxiety. The first symptoms for them are anxiety, depression, ADHD symptoms. They diagnosed ADHD, for example, or they got this when they were a child and so they thought it was from back then. And so when they go through the program, if that was the first manifestation, those things go away. And so anxiety medications are getting reduced, depression medications are getting reduced. You got to understand too, both blood sugar and the insulin, and especially the inflammation, are all disrupting neurotransmitters in your brain, including and especially serotonin and dopamine, which are the 2 biggest neurotransmitters for anxiety and depression. It affects the way the brain functions, and it affects a lot of issues, which is why it mirrors ADHD symptoms. Right? So there's a lot of cool stuff. If you research it, you'll learn. You don't need me. Now that I'm giving you guys the seeds of information, go do some Googling and go research. Google isn't fantastic, but you'll get you far enough. You can see a lot of success in those areas with the insulin resistance. Okay. And then Persian, it's actually 1 discounted order. So everybody who's ordering, by the way, all these names I'm seeing, was it Bridget? Yeah, so Bridget, for example, if you guys are open to it, I don't say last names, don't worry, but if you do want to connect with me, message me on TikTok, get me on Instagram, message me somewhere, and that way I can give you guys the detailed instructions, how to use it properly. I'll get you access to my Facebook group. I do a lot of active coaching in there, as well as my number. So as you're detoxing, as your body is shifting and you want to say, hey, this is happening, what does that mean? I can actually on the spot tell you. If you don't know what to do, if you're like, I'm worried, I'm concerned, or I'm seeing my blood sugar go up, is that normal? Yes, it's normal. And you can text me right away and I can tell you that. Like, yes, it's very exciting. It means this. Your blood sugar will increase, guys. Even non-diabetics, blood sugar usually goes up just a little bit because you're detoxing. Again, it's going into the bloodstream. When you're flushing out all this old glucose, it has to come out. It can't just evaporate. It goes into the bloodstream and it goes through your urine. It leaves your body. You're peeing out all this stuff, all this glucose, all this inflammation. You're going to see it in your blood readers, and it's a really exciting part of flushing out. Oh, but sorry, someone asked about what to order exactly. They were confused looking at the page. So when you go to the link tree, right, and you open up that very first box, so it says natural products for insulin resistance, what you're gonna do, and I'm so glad, Digital Destiny, that you enjoyed it. Thank you guys. When you click on the buy now button, right, what you're gonna do, ingredients are on this page. Go to there's PDFs, open up PDFs, you see the ingredients. When you scroll down though, you see there's 2 flavors. Pick your 2 flavors. Both come together and they work together. They're 2 that are designed to come together. They're 2 separate packages for a reason because you use them differently. Don't worry, I'll give you all the instructions. But pick your 2 flavors. I recommend lemon and berry, and then just add to cart. But you don't gotta add anything else. Just pick the 2 flavors, add to cart, and you're good to go. For the ingredients, this one is broken down. So you can see the different nutrients, the phytosterols, the fiber complexes, the vitamins that are in here. You can see all, even minerals that are in here, micronutrients, you can see all that broken down in the ingredient list. This one, the plant extract, it's made of plant extracts. You can see the plant extract by name on the ingredient list, but that plant extract is proprietary. So the 100 nutrients in that extract are not broken down. I've named off some of them, but I can only name off so many because again, I know the owners, I talk to them, and I can say certain things, but I can't say the rest. And so some things, they can't reveal because they want to protect. So the exact nutrient complex in here, the exact makeup and the exact concentration that gives it to be a nutraceutical, right? Clinically proven one. They don't break that down. But you can see the ingredient, you'll see it's plant extract. All right. So I'm gonna scroll back up because I missed comments. Liz Shell said, Liz, welcome to my live. Thanks for coming in here. I saw improvement in my mood in a few days. Oh, did you? Brain fog gone in the first week, and that's powerful too. So a lot of Liz, did you know you had brain fog before you started? Some people message me like, Dana, my brain fog is completely gone. I didn't even know I had brain fog until it was gone, like after the first few weeks, for example. And for some guys who are listening to this, some people watch me and they get discouraged. People are commenting like Liz, and in the first few days, Liz had results. Liz is seeing differences, and that's amazing for Liz and a lot of people who do see early results. A lot of people don't feel anything in the beginning because there's just so much to work out in their body that they aren't at the level where they can quickly see a result. And if that's you, right? Like Cynthia, Cynthia, I know you're probably here, and I know sometimes that happens with you. Do not feel discouraged. It's so normal. Everyone's pathway to getting where they are is so different. Like my father, he felt nothing for the whole first month, but look at him now. His kidney function is back to normal. He was going into kidney failure. His liver was starting to fail. It's back to normal. Heart disease is gone. Plaque buildup, clear arteries. Hey, Jason, thank you. Thank you. Kimber, you're on your first week. How you doing? All right. I click on your picture. Oh, so Andrea, Andrea? Hold on. Andrea, sorry. Hold on. What you're gonna do is, let me help you out. When you go to for those who are looking how to get there, click on the photo up here. The panel's gonna open, and you're going to click on the photo again. Click on the photo a couple times. It'll take you eventually to my page. When you go to the page, click on the link tree. I know it's backwards for you, I apologize, but there's gonna be a photo up here. Then it has my stats. Then it says girl with a neuroscience degree, helping people with their health. And then right below it, it says Linktree Dana Estelle. I know it's backwards for you on here, and I do apologize. If it's not there for you for some reason, like it's just like, sometimes TikTok will erase the link randomly. It's like a glitch. And if that's what you're experiencing, message me. I'll help you out, Andrea. All right. Dad's kidney function was below, like it was with like no normal range. I forgot the exact number. This goes back many years ago. He's 70 now. He was 64 at the time. He's almost 70, sorry, but I don't know the exact number anymore. But it was below the non-normal range, like right below it. But I don't remember what that is. I don't remember the markings for the kidney. Okay. If your potassium is off, if your chloride is off, if you have reoccurring kidney stones, all these stressors coming, even if EPO is off, for example, all these different little things can tell you that your kidneys are blood pressure. That's also going to pressure on your kidneys. The kidney shows up in a lot of interesting ways. Even if GFR is normal, you can actually have other things signaling in your body that your kidney is starting to get strained. Hold on, I'm scrolling up. Joe Mama. I can't